San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Monday to everybody out there in America's finest city. And what Monday it is today. I mean, what month is it, Frank? Is it December? Are we sure it's December today?
Yeah, I know, right?
What a beautiful weekend it was, all weekend long. You get all the benefits of the summer without the gloom and without it being super hot. It was like nice.
Tomorrow
like nice
it will
weather.
be.
Tomorrow it will be a little hot. I think it's supposed to be like in the high 70s today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
A little toasty, not going to lie. 69 degrees right now, high of 77 today.
It's winter's turn. Summer, go away.
I don't mind it.
That's
It's a day like
fun for
today.
you.
It's a day like today where you go like, yeah, it's a blessing to live here. It's great. People are freezing there. You know what, Huff? Having to sit in a bar and can't do activities all day outside. I like being outside. It's great. Some people don't like being outside.
Is that
Who
a
could
shot?
those people be?
Was that a shot?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying some people don't like to be outside. I like to be outside. Winter in San Diego. Perfect weather. It's great. It's a little bit on the hotter side. You know, I think a lot of people want to do some things that involve sweaters and hot chocolate and festive things. I understand that. I get that. We got a lot to talk about. It is December. We know it's December. You want to know why we know it's December? One, the Padres aren't playing, but two, the winter meetings are going on down in Orlando. Is Sam Levitt going on Disney World rides throughout the his off time in Orlando? Is he going to go? Can we interview Sam while he's live on like
I was going to say,
one of the rides?
I believe he'll be on the Matterhorn when we do our interview with him at 11 o'clock.
I was thinking Matterhorn too, but I don't. Do they have a Matterhorn? I don't think Florida has a Matterhorn.
The Matterhorn equivalent.
He'll be on Big Thunder Mountain.
Sure, we'll go with that one.
You know what? I want to do an interview with Sam Levitt as he goes through the Haunted Mansion on the Nightmare Before Christmas. If you could get Jack Skellington on, that would be fantastic.
Love it.
Winter meetings are in Orlando right now. And we got some news, obviously, coming from the Padres. We're going to continue to get news. We're going to try to keep you updated on everything that's going on in Major League Baseball. This is a big week for the offseason. And we talked about it last week, leading into this week, that a lot of big names could potentially be going off the board when it comes to free agent signings. They expected a lot of trades to potentially happen during the winter meetings. And then today, there was the piece by Dennis Lin, who had contributions by Britt Garoli and as well as everybody's favorite journalist, Ken Rosenthal, Frank. Everybody loves Ken. He can't find it. There it is. We haven't seen Go Essex in the chat. Oh, there he is. I was waiting for that. As soon as that happens, it's automatic. Boo. Everybody's favorite journalist, Ken Rosenthal. So they put out an article today about the Padres and what they could potentially do. And this is the first time that we have seen the Padres potentially contemplating the idea of trading Nick Pivetta. I think it's very interesting to have that conversation. I think it's very interesting to have a lot of these conversations when it comes to Padres trying to free up payroll to fill other spots. Now, here's the thing. With everything that they do to potentially free up payroll and do the Juan Soto trade that they did a handful of years ago, you're opening up other spots that you now have to fill. And now you got to fill more holes in the dam. But like trading Nick Pivetta to me doesn't make it easy. You're actively looking for starting pitching. And yes, he could potentially be a free agent at the end of next year because of opt-outs, and he's getting paid $19 million a year and all that fun stuff. But if you trade away Nick Pivetta, like what are you going to get back that's going to equate to filling out the rest of your roster? That was kind of sad. I mean, I think a lot of people understand that where the payroll is right now for the Padres and trying to compete with everybody else, I mean, they have spent a lot of the money. It's very difficult to try to continue to keep spending and spending and spending as the top teams in Major League Baseball continue to just open up their blank checks, their blank checkbook, and just continue to write checks. So that was one of the names that was listed. It seems sad, but also you have to say this as well. Like Dennis Lin points out, it's highly unlikely. The other thing that they brought up was they're actively trying to shop Jake Cronenworth. To me, that makes a lot more sense. But then, again, as mentioned by the article, they talk about, well, if you trade Jake Cronenworth away, you have to fill it with somebody else. Middle infield availability is not very high for baseball. There's not a lot of available players that play middle infield on the open market for free agency. So then you got to start thinking about trades. Well, if you think about the second baseman and middle infielders that are available for trade, their contracts are not much cheaper than Jake Cronenworth's contract. That's also what was laid out in this article. So then you have to think of, okay, well, if we trade away Jake Cronenworth and free up money, we got to go get another second baseman. Jeff McNeil's making close to what that number is. He just doesn't have as many years. Ketel Marte's making a ton of money. Plus, you'd have to do an interdivision trade. I mean, there's not a lot of options right there. And then they got to the whole, well, Fernando Tatis Jr. could potentially be moved. It's the first time we've seen it in an article written by Dennis Lin. I find it to be interesting. I find it to be not really popular amongst the fan base. I can't imagine them being able to pull that off and not hearing it from the fans. I mean, I think you could sell it as much as you want, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense for the Padres to potentially trade away Fernando. He's got a full no-trade clause, even though he's valuable in the sense of, like, he's going to play over the amount of money he's going to get paid. It just, now you open up a hole in the outfield. You probably get a decent amount of prospect capital, but how many of those guys ever just pan out? I mean, let's look at the Nationals for a second. Remember the big deal the Padres had to get Juan Soto and all this stuff? And it was like, here's C.J. Abrams, and here's Mackenzie Gore, and all these players. So, well, we can have these players right now. What's Washington doing right now with those players, Frank?
Losing.
They're
shipping
losing
them off.
and now they're shopping them. It's just this endless cycle. It's just this endless cycle. I think this talks more about baseball than it talks about the San Diego Padres. And here's the thing. If you had the conversation of, like, everybody's got a salary cap, and the Padres spent 80% of their salary cap on Manny and Xander and Fernando, and now they have to, like, find ways to put a team together. Yeah, that would be bad decision-making, and you would have to deal with the problem. But this is why this is different. Because without a salary cap, you can't compete with those teams that could just constantly keep writing checks where they don't get hurt on having to fill out the roster because they could keep writing checks. The Padres are operating on a salary cap because there's only a finite amount of money that they can actually spend that they have. And when you have teams playing at different cap levels, it makes a sense where you have smaller market teams, and San Diego's still a small market, having to think about, well, we might have to trade away our best player. You can't have a league where it makes sense to trade away your best player for money reasoning. It's not a great league. So you look at the way that things are structured. I think a lot of the national media is really trying to push for that. You see it in their articles. But the other thing, too, with some of these conversations, how many times have we looked at this and we've gone through offseason, we've gone through winter meetings, we've gone through trade deadlines. You don't really know what AJ Preller's going to do because he takes calls on everybody. He's always looking for, how do we make the Padres the best we could possibly make them? And he listens on everybody. And so it doesn't surprise me that they might be listening on offers for certain players or trying to shop certain players. I mean, there's been a lot of years where they've tried to shop players and haven't been able to get the player off the roster, haven't been able to make a trade happen. But I just find it hard to believe that trading a guy like Fernando Tatis Jr. or potentially even considering that would benefit you in the long run. I saw it in the chat. I think it would be equivalent to the Dallas Mavericks trading away Luka. And if you look at the Mavericks and like the support that they now no longer have in their town, it's a tough sell. I mean, you would have to get like generational talent back. You would have to get 2 younger versions of Fernando back for it to make any sense. I know Yankees fans are champing at the bit to potentially get a guy like Fernando, but you start looking at some of their farm system guys that everybody wants. I mean, let me ask the Yankee hater here. How many of those guys have really panned out aside from Aaron Judge, Frank?
Not many.
All of those players, like all these position players that they talk about, oh, this guy's great, this guy's great, this guy's great. Anthony Volpe. Oh, he's great, Frank, isn't he?
He is.
He is. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's great.
Yep. You don't get a nickname like Anthony Volpe E6 for no reason.
That's right.
You're awesome.
Who's the other guy? Jason Dominguez?
Yeah, Dominguez.
That's another guy
one.
that I think 2 years ago or however many years ago it was when the Padres traded Juan Soto.
Clint Frazier was another
Clint Frazier was
name.
supposed to be the next Derek Jeter too. Guy's the future. I mean, the Yankees haven't been able to really produce that much prospect talent. They got Aaron Judge. You can't knock him for that. Guy's also a behemoth human being. But at the same time, they haven't had a lot of guys like get traded away that panned out for the other team that have acquired the prospects. I strike at the national media constant of all of these rich teams need to consistently acquire great talent and all the lower level teams need to just give them the talent away because they got to build for the future. Nonsense is just a joke. And I'm sure they're going to start throwing out ideas of like, you know what? And KG beat me to it. Wait, you know what? I think the Mariners should probably shop Cal Raleigh. It's probably a good idea. You can't have a league where like more than half the league has to support the 6 teams that you want to win. It's not great. This is why this CBA needs to come sooner rather than later.
But here's the problem. Do they shop Cal Raleigh or do they shop Julio Rodriguez?
They shop both.
Yeah.
Seattle. They can't afford them. They can't afford them. They should give them to the Red Sox or the Yankees. Yeah, the Dodgers are done with Teoscar Hernandez now. They'll go ship him off to a small market team, and then they're going to pick up Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, give him Julio.
That's right. Classic. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk about the winter meetings. We're going to get some latest rumors around the winter meetings here in this first hour or so. Sam Levitt is out there at the winter meetings in Orlando. He's going to join us at 11. Jim Bowden's got his winter meetings wish list we'll break down. Mark Neville will join us at noon. He's going to talk about the big Holiday Bowl matchup that they picked yesterday. ACC had a little bit of an issue yesterday, huh, Frank? Notre Dame's like, we're not participating. And all of a sudden it was like, chaos. We don't know who's going to play Arizona in the Holiday Bowl because they got to wait for the ACC again. I'm curious. I think this is the last year of the contract with the ACC and the Pac-12.
I believe.
Tie-ins.
Yeah, I believe it is.
And I know Mark's been working on future deals. I mean, I would imagine yesterday was probably I feel bad. Mark is such a nice guy. The stress level for Mark yesterday was probably super high, but it's led in the right way. I mean, the Holiday Bowl, the Sports San Diego does a great job of bringing us local events, and it's another one that's coming. I like the matchup between Arizona and SMU. Maybe I'm biased because I'm an Arizona fan, but I like the matchup.
And I believe the Holiday Bowl this year is going to be like the last of the smaller bowl games too.
Yeah, it's on January 2nd or something like that.
It is the last of the non-playoff bowl games.
It's the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl now. They got the naming rights on there, which is great. They got that sponsored. So he'll come on at noon. We'll talk about that.
Who's Will?
I don't know, but Trust is very expensive.
No, we trust in Will. Who's Will?
Trust and Will, not in. We don't trust and will.
My bad.
We trust and will. We'll try to get to some football stuff later on in the show. Today's going to be a lot of baseball. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of baseball. We're going to have a lot of college football on Friday because Frank and I are going to be in Baltimore for Army-Navy over the weekend. So it's going to be fun. We leave Wednesday night. We're going to do our show there on Thursday. Team No Sleep. And then we're going to do the show on Friday. A lot of great guests that might be lined up for us. We might have to get them done a little bit earlier than we would like. But, I'd love to talk to RG3 as a TCU guy talking to a Baylor guy. I want to know his opinion on the Blue Bonnet battle, whatever that nonsense is. So we'll talk a little bit more college football later on in the week because this is the week where you kind of wait it out with the winter meetings, and then one big thing happens, and then it spirals. But we've had a couple winter meetings that haven't been full-fledged awesome. And I remember, like, when the Padres signed Xander Bogaerts, that was like the Thursday or the Wednesday night of the winter meetings. Everybody's leaving town because I was leaving for Army-Navy Thursday morning to the news that Xander Bogaerts was now a San Diego Padre. They work into the late hours. The Padres have made some moves during the winter meetings. So we'll see what's in store. We're going to keep you updated on all of that. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We are off and rolling on a Monday. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on 97 to the Fan, join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. And visit davidpshapirolaw.com. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local, each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We have found a little surprise on the YouTube chat today. Is that right, Frank? What have we discovered? I think Gonzo saw it first.
Yeah, there is. Well, if you guys go and if you like the stream, you click that thumbs up button down there, you get a little surprise.
Yeah.
There's and baseball that pops up. So if you want to see the cute little baseball, like the stream.
I love the...
You should like the stream regardless, but you get a little present this time.
Correct. It's awesome. I like the way, by the way, somebody called you out for using the "and" something. The English police came in. Got super upset. You definitely have to do it more now. The little baseball is great.
That's the bit.
It's great. Absolutely great. All right. Let's talk about some of these rumors and stuff like that. But let's talk specifically about the Padres. I look at this, and in that first piece that has been put out so far today, or this week, by our local reporters, potentially thinking about trading Nick Pivetta. They said it's highly unlikely. They've shopped Jake Cronenworth, and they could potentially have to think about trading Fernando Tatis Jr. as they try to balance the budget and find solutions to all the problems that the Padres have. I do want to say it didn't sound like it was very likely. It's just something that they'd have to consider. But knowing AJ Preller, he considers everything. So it's really not big of news. But when I look at that, Frank, I just go, I don't see any of these things potentially happening this week at the winter meetings.
No, and you gotta, as a general manager, your job is to leave no stone unturned. Whether or not you think you're going to do it or you're not, whether or not you think you're likely to do it or not, you have to explore every single option that is available. I would be floored if they traded Fernando. I would be shocked if they traded Pivetta. Cronenworth, I wouldn't be all that surprised.
I'd be a little surprised that they were able to do it.
Correct.
More so than like
them actually doing it. It's like, wow, they found someone to take the contract. That's interesting. But as a general manager, that is your job, and that's what we're seeing. We've seen the Royals GM up there, Chris, up on MLB Network. Chris Young is on there now. That's what these guys are all there for right now, is to explore every single option that is available to them and to see if that makes their team better or if not.
And you have to lay it out and see exactly what what your team would potentially look like if you actually did that.
Correct.
And they're probably going to be like, all right, well, this is what would happen if we traded Fernando. I don't really like this. I seriously, I think that's going to be the case more times than not. But you have to think about your options. I mean, you do that in a lot of aspects of life, right? I mean, there's like different options that you want to consider. There's different options or different paths of like, hey, I wouldn't really want to do this, but does it make me better in the long run? Does this make the team better in the long run? All of those things. So I think in a scale of like percentage wise, like if I had to pick out of those three who's most likely to get traded, it's Cronenworth.
Yeah, 100%.
If I had to pick who's the second most likely to get traded, it's Pivetta.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them being able to pull that off in trading Fernando. I don't
think you can trade a Nick Pivetta for prospect capital, guys that you're going to use later on. I think if you're going to do that, just for sake of like knowing who I'm talking about here, you would use it for a Jonah Tong or a Blade Tidwell, guys who pitched in the major leagues last year that proved that they can do it. It's not Blade. McLean. That's the guy I was thinking of, not Tidwell. You would trade him for that. You get two young guys who have a lot of control. that have pitched the major leagues before that have proven that they can do it for a team that's looking for major league pitching talent. You can't do it for, oh, well, here's a double-A pitcher who we think is going to be really, really good. No.
Here's the other thing, too, because people are like, well, why would you trade from something that you need? The solution would be, and it's laid out in the article, again, Dennis Lin and everybody's favorite journalist, Ken Rosenthal, and Brick Rowley all contributed to that article. The concept is you could potentially trade Pivetta for a bunch of pieces because he's very valuable, and then you use that to get more young, controllable pitching because the problem is not Nick Pivetta on the Padres.
No, it's
the problem
salary.
is they don't have, the salary, but also they don't have legit arms under contract for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Pivetta is going to walk at the end of the season unless he sucks. That's the only way he doesn't walk at the end of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way. He's getting paid $19 million this year. He's an opt-out at the end of the year. He's going to opt into $14 million and I think it was like $15 million the following year.
It goes,
if he does anything like he just did this past season, there's no way on God's green earth that he opts in. He gets $20.5 million this year, then it's 14, then it's 18. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And he can opt out at the end of this season, and he can opt out of the next season. So he can opt out at the end of 2026, and he can opt out of 2027. If the guy pitches well, he's opting out. Want to know why? Because Dylan Cease, who had a 4.55 ERA, and I know we talked about the advanced metrics and the Sierra and all that other stuff about Dylan Cease, that guy's getting $30 million a year. He had a 4.55 ERA. Starting pitching is sparse.
And I also want to just reiterate, Pivetta is not costing you $20 million this year. It's costing you $13.7 in the luxury tax.
He's costing you $20.5 million in liquid assets.
Correct, but the luxury
tax,
the tax
he's only
hit is
costing you
13.7.
13.7.
Yes.
It does free up, $13.7 million on the tax, and it also frees up the $20 million that they have to pay. I mean, they still have to pay him $20 million. That's $20 million.
Oh, yeah. They have to give it. Yeah.
I mean, we always look at the AAV because of the tax, and they want to stay underneath the tax. But at the same time, they don't want to have overinflated contracts either. They still have to pay the guy.
Yes.
So there's more to just the tax part. The tax is just an added thing that they have to pay on top of the salaries for 2026. And the fact that it's not going over a certain threshold because of XYZ, that's a benefit. But paying him $20.5 million still hurts. You still have to pay him $20.5 million. But I just, as laid out in the article, I don't understand the concept. Like, oh, well, if they trade Pivetta, they could get pieces back to get more controllable pitching. I don't know where they're going to get that.
Like I said, it would have to be guys like Nolan McLean who pitched at least half the season last year, and possibly somebody else. You kind of get 2 for 1 if you're trading starting pitching. You would want those young, controllable arms, but you'd have to get more than one. That's the only way you could see that trade for Nick Pivetta making sense, if you get 2 starters instead of just the one. You turn him into 2 long-term controllable starters instead of just the one who's going to opt out at the end of the year.
Here's the thing with that. With the market of with the market of starting pitching the way it is, and everybody needs it. There's not a single team that doesn't need starting pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Every team needs starting pitching. Every team can add starting pitching. Like, even the Dodgers, as good as their starting pitching was, they probably would like to add 2 or 3 more arms because guys go down. I mean, how many of the Dodgers arms went down last year?
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, they were expecting Roki Sasaki to be part of the rotation. He was a bullpen arm because of injuries and everything like that. Everybody needs the starting pitching. And so when they trade for Pivetta, I don't know why you would trade for Pivetta unless you're going to sign him to a contract extension. And I don't know why you would give up young, controllable arms of the future unless you didn't believe in him. I'm talking about like an outside team, right? That's not that might be looking for a guy like Nick Pivetta. He could potentially opt out. You'd have to give him a contract extension. Otherwise, you're trading for a rental. You're not going to give up good, young, controllable starting pitching for a rental. And then if you're the Padres, let's say you give them a bunch of just good prospects, are they going to try to flip those for young, controllable pitching? It doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why it's like you break it down, and I just don't find a whole lot of validity to what is being said. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I agree. And Glenn Allen in the chat, the potential of new owners with deep pockets,
That's going to take some time.
that
dude.
doesn't help you right now. That doesn't help you this offseason because the potential new owners. And also, if there's a salary cap coming up in the next CBA, it doesn't matter how rich the owner is. They're going to be capped at a certain spending limit. And it's how close can you get to that spending limit without going over.
You want to talk about a San Diego curse?
Yeah,
San Diego curse would be, here's the report. Again, Padres plan to keep Fernando Tatis Jr.
They're talking about it on MLB
it's
Network
just
right now.
you listen to the article, or you read some of these articles, you listen to some of the noise, and you poke so many holes in it. It's like, that's no way. And then the Padres have to go out there and just be like, hey, well, by the way, we're not trading this guy. I don't know what the conversation with this was about. So Joel Sherman on Hot Stove right now just says, like, they're keeping Fernando, which we thought. I mean, that was such a the hoops you have to jump through to potentially trade Fernando are ridiculous.
They're showing the contracts now. Fernando's got 9 years left at 286. Manny, 8 years, 266. Bogart's 8 years, 200. Merrill, 9 years, 135. Cronenworth, 5 years at 60. And then Darvish at 3 years and 43. Those are the biggest contracts you have right now.
And I mean, eventually this is going to start coming off the books over the years. I don't pay too much attention. I try not to put too much life into some of these trading deals. I find it interesting though, the plan during this offseason with a new ownership potentially coming in and also a CBA. But that's the thing, like Glenn said in the chat, what about the possibility new ownership with deep pockets, as you brought up? Yeah, it's going to take some time for them to sell the team. Mm-hmm. And right now they're operating as the owners of this current franchise and what they can and cannot afford. They're not going to just load the team up and be like, somebody else's problem. It's not going to happen like that. It's not going to happen like that. There's a lot of smaller names. When I mean smaller, I mean lesser known players drawing interest at the winter meetings. Who are these players and what teams are making noise at the early onset of the winter meetings? We're going to talk about that when we come back. Braden Surprenant shows San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 through the Fan is brought to you by Mission Fed. From first accounts to big life moments, Mission Fed can help. Savings shouldn't be stressful. Mission Fed makes it easier with great rates on savings, certificates, and ultra money market accounts. Grow your money the smart way. Check the latest rates and open an account at missionfed.com. Membership and account criteria apply. We are going to be getting a live look at the winter meetings coming up in the next segment. At 11 o'clock, Sam Levitt will join us to give us everything we need to know about what's going on at the winter meetings, news with the Padres, rumors, what he's hearing, everything like that. Coming up at 11. Before we get to that, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in Major League Baseball. Here's some of the kind of the rumors circulating. We got so much information that we're getting out at Orlando. And again, like us being 3 hours behind them, there's a lot of the stuff moving early in the morning before most of us even wake up. A lot of the stuff that is moving along. So lesser known players drawing interest as laid out in an article on MLB.com. On The Athletic. It was put together by Will Salmon and everybody's favorite journalist, Ken Rosenthal. There it is. So, as you start, it starts with, Frank, trade market for starting pitcher starting to explode. I wonder why. We just had this conversation. Everybody needs starting pitching.
Well, so before the winter meetings even began, teams, most notably the Red Sox, aggressively using prospects to trade for starting pitching rather than participating in free agency. Executives say the trade market for starters right now is hot or hotter than back at the trade deadline in July, as more than half the league has contacted the Nationals about Mackenzie Gore, who has 2 years left of control. Tariq Skubal is another one. Freddie Peralta is another one. Also hearing, Edward Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara are possibilities to leave the Marlins, but we're also seeing that Ryan Weathers could be a guy who is seeing a lot of conversation around him possibly getting traded this offseason out of Miami.
Yeah, you look at the starting pitching market right now for Major League Baseball, and here's the thing. Like, with the starting pitching market, everybody needs starting pitching. We just talked about it. And the fact that the trade market for starters right now is hot or hotter than the July deadline, this is why there was an article today about Nick Pivetta.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Likelihood's probably not high, but I would imagine the Padres are probably fielding a lot of calls on a guy like Nick Pivetta, who can opt out at the end of the year, who might be a rental, who is getting $20.5 million this year in a contract, only 13 point whatever it is towards the luxury tax. It makes a lot of sense because I don't think teams are going to be able to get Tariq Skubal out of Detroit. I don't. Freddie Peralta's availability remains unclear whether or not he is available or not. Pittsburgh has already traded a starter. They could potentially trade another. And then the Marlins, as laid out by Frank, Edward Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara, the Miami Marlins are very likely, as pointed out in this article, to move one of their starters. And then they're also, as Frank mentioned, taking calls about Ryan Weathers, who still has promise in 3 years before free agency. Miami's going to listen on all starters except for Perez, but they won't deal Weathers unless the team believes he's ready to break out. I mean, look at Miami. Miami's got a lot of starting pitching that's readily available for a team that, and here's what's the interesting thing about Miami. Like, they're close. The Miami Marlins are close. They did a lot better. They improved from the year before. I think when they get to 70-something wins last year, they were knocking on the door of a potential playoff spot.
They
said they want to
yep.
build around this young core. I mean, to me, they could probably get a lot more out of Edward Cabrera, but like anybody that's not tied down to the ship, that's not going to help you the next 2 or 3 years, should probably get traded if you're Miami. They're an interesting case study on the starting pitching market because they kind of hold all the cards of players that could potentially be traded, as we sit here and complain that small market teams shouldn't be doing this. And now we're saying, well, maybe Miami should trade away all their good players.
Marlins went 79 and 83 last year. So they made it really, really close to get to the playoffs. They were 4 games out in the wild card naturally. And they looked to be dead in the water, but had a really good August and September of last year. So, I mean, we had Sandy Alcantara and Edward Cabrera on the trade block at the deadline last year. Neither one of them got moved. It clearly paid off for Miami. And if they're serious about wanting to trade, if they're serious about wanting to make moves and get better, I don't see why they would trade those guys. A guy like Ryan Weathers, yeah, I could see them trading a guy like him. But as far as Yuri Perez, Edward Cabrera, Sandy Alcantara, those are your top 3. I would not move those if you're serious about making a run.
Well, I think it all comes down to timelines of when they expect to win. I think you could look at Oakland's trade last year, Oklamento's trade last year of Mason Miller. And I said it the year before. I said the Padres should trade for Mason Miller. I said it the year before. And we're like, why would they ever do that? Why would they ever do that? Why would they ever do that? And my reasoning was, it's their timeline. Their timeline didn't make sense. He didn't fit their timeline of when they're expected to be good. Like, everybody's got a timeline of when they want to be at their best. Now, some of the teams are in their windows right now. But if you look at the A's in general, they want to make a splash for what, Frank? When do the A's need to be at their best in the next 10 or 15 years? When is the time?
When the new ballpark opens up in Vegas.
Their first year in Vegas. Their first year in Vegas. That's when they need to be really, really good.
It'll be 28 or 29.
Which is 28 or 29. This is why I said when the Padres traded for, like, they're going to give up Mason Miller. Want to know why? He doesn't fit in their timeline. He is an asset that they can't afford. Because Mason Miller, because the Padres haven't given him a contract extension or anything like that, he's a free agent in 2030. So if they open up the ballpark in 2029, you would have 1 year of Mason Miller, and unless you extended him to a massive deal, you were just going to eat all these years of him in his prime, and then you're going to get him for his 30s or whatever. That's the time to trade him. Go look at the Marlins. The same thing can be talked about with the Miami Marlins. You look at the Miami Marlins and you look at their contracts that they have. Go look at them on Fangraphs. A lot of their players are not even eligible for arbitration yet. Those players need to stay. That's who you're building around. Then you look at their arbitration eligible players. It's Anthony Bender. It's Edward Cabrera. It's Braxton Garrett. It's Andrew Nardi, Ryan Weathers, Calvin Fauché, Max Meyer. These are all guys that are under contract at least for the next three seasons. Bender's only for 2 seasons. And then you look at Sandy. Sandy's 30 years old, and he's got 1 more year left on his contract, and he's got a $21 million club option. When are the Marlins expected to win their division? When would you say? They probably are 3 or 4 years out of the way.
Of even contending seriously, I would agree.
They might think they could win 80 games next year. But you know what? They could probably win the 80 games without Sandy. They did it last year, did they not? I mean, most of last year, Sandy missed. That's the guy that's probably going to get traded. Now, Cabrera at age 27, the question becomes for Miami. Is Edward Cabrera going to be a main focal point when we are expecting to win? He's 27 years old. He's going to be turning 28 at the end of next season. and he's under control until 2029. Edward Cabrera, to me, is kind of in the same line as Mason Miller because he is a guy that doesn't fit the timeline for the Marlins. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded him. Now, Ryan Weathers, he's kind of in that same boat, but I don't think he is somebody that is going to get you a whole lot back. But if you're Miami, trading Sandy or Edward Cabrera, I think that could be smart for them in the future because their timelines don't connect. If I had to trade one of the two, I'm trading Sandy Alcantara. You're probably not getting as much back, but Edward Cabrera fits the timeline more than Sandy does, Frank.
Right. And I think that's why a lot of the conversation around the trade deadline was centered around Alcantara and less of Edward Cabrera, is because partly because he doesn't fit that timeline, and also because he's coming off of Tommy John surgery. He had a very rough start to the first half of the year, turned it around for the second half of the year, and kind of made people think. But I would agree with that, yes.
Let's talk about the Red Sox. They want to re-sign Alex Bregman. Bregman says he wants to be in Boston. But internally, the Red Sox see Bo Bichette as a very serious alternative, Frank. Could you imagine Bo Bichette leaving Toronto and signing with the Boston Red Sox? I think it's a cheaper move for the Red Sox.
You know what's funny is I started yesterday because I had nothing to do. I started a MLB The Show Dynasty, and I started it with Boston. I ended up trading away Bregman after year 2 and signing Bo Bichette for the start of year 2. So it's funny how this lines up.
Maybe you're Nostradamus.
The reason why I signed Bichette was to give Marcelo Mayer a little bit more time to develop. If Boston wants to, if Trevor Story is out, I would say, yes, go after Bo Bichette, give him a 2 or 3 year deal. By the time year 3 of that deal rolls around, Marcelo Mayer should really be ready to go, ready to take over. Then you let Mayer go. You need to find a little bit of a stopgap for him to be ready at the shortstop position. You cannot rely on Trevor Story. He had a great year last year, but what he has done, I wouldn't trust him. I think Bo Bichette would be a better option than going and signing Alex Bregman again, because if Bregman really wanted to be back with Boston, he would have opted in.
The thing with Bichette, and they lay out some reasons, and he's 4 years younger than Bregman, which I think is better. He's got a nearly identical weighted runs created plus to Bregman over the last 6 seasons. Bichette is plus 21%. Bregman is plus 24%. I mean, that's pretty equal. And Bichette rakes at Fenway Park.
Mm-hmm.
A 329 average and a 907 OPS. To me, it's a better move for the Boston Red Sox to have Bichette on your team than Bregman. And here's the other thing. There's defensive concerns at shortstop, but some teams still see him as a viable shortstop. As for the Red Sox, they could potentially have Trevor Story at short, Marcelo Mayer at third, and Bo Bichette at second.
Well, because they signed Christian Campbell to that long contract last year, expecting him to be the second baseman of the future. And then you have that situation of, okay, Ceddanne Rafaela could play in right field.
Christian Campbell's contract is just like not a lot of money.
No, I understand that, but it's a long-term deal. So you spent all this money and you're trusting in Christian Campbell for all this time, but we're going to get a replacement for you. That to me the way that works out, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but to me, it's like, even if they give him a long-term it's not like they're paying him $20 million a year. They're paying him $2.2 million next year.
And I believe it grows.
So they have time to just let him figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
More competition. Don't mind that either. But I think the Red Sox are very interesting in that particular case. They also say that there's other free agent bats on Boston's radar. Pete Alonso, Kyle Schwarber. If I had to pick between those two, we already talked about it. I think Kyle Schwarber fits the Red Sox a little bit more. Even though he played there already, maybe that makes it make more sense. I don't see Pete Alonso not being a Met.
And
I don't see Cohen letting that guy go.
and the biggest thing is, the thing that we're hearing about Pete Alonso the most is that teams are not going to dish out a 6 or 7 year contract, which is what he wants. He's going to be lucky to get 4, which if I were Pete Alonso, I would be losing my mind at Scott Boras, because I set a franchise record for home runs. I am the rookie home run king. And yet people can't overlook the fact that I can't hit for average, but they can overlook it for Kyle Schwarber. Like, what? And he doesn't play defense. I'm out there every single day missing 10 or fewer games a season. People aren't willing to pony up the money and the time for me, but they're willing to do it for Schwarber. That's an agent issue. That is a Scott Boras issue. That is Boras not pumping Alonso enough.
Has Boras spoke with the media yet?
Phrasing.
I'll do it to myself there.
Yeah, you could do it to yourself. I gotta hear. Have we heard the Boras meeting yet?
No.
Maybe I gotta ask Sam when that happens, because that's the funniest script I've ever heard every single year. Nothing's funnier than Scott Boras talking to the media at the winter meetings.
Well, you know,
Just great stuff. We got Sam Levitt coming on when we come back. He's going to give us a live report from Orlando, the winter meetings, everything that's going on with the San Diego Padres. When we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Someone Sports Station, 97 to the Fan. 11 a.m. on a Monday. All guests on 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. The winter meetings have begun in Orlando, and joining us now, fresh off of who knows what kind of Disney World rides Sam has already participated in today in Orlando. Sam Levitt joining us, looking dapper out there at the winter meetings. Sam, what's going on? How's the trip been so far?
Oh, it's been good. Got in late last night. Went pretty much right to bed. Got in around 10:30, so no socializing down here in the lobby for me last night. But up bright and early this morning, and away we go. Very, very busy, as you can tell, for the YouTube viewers behind us. In the lobby here, we've got the MLB Network set right behind me, and lots of activity, lots of people mulling around the hotel here in Orlando.
Yeah, you got to be able to stay up late and hang out at the hotel bar, Sam, for all that trades get put on napkins. You got to be on the lookout, see if you find anything.
Yeah, that's what they say. A lot of rumblings do go on there, and it's a good time. Look, I've said this before. It's interesting because I feel like the event where the baseball world gets together is not during the actual season, right? It's actually these winter meetings. The All-Star game is sort of that. The World Series has, I think, elements of that as well. But if there's one place throughout the baseball calendar where everybody is in one spot, from baseball operations to media to GMs to job seekers to analytics types, you name it, it's here at the winter meeting. So it's a very unique few days where it becomes the real epicenter of the baseball universe, and always a good time. We'll see if there's a lot of activity. Seems like every year's a little bit different. Every year's a little bit different with this when it comes from the Padres standpoint as well. So we shall see what transpires here in the next 48 to 72 hours. Let's
talk about the Padres offseason plans. Joel Sherman was just on that stage behind you on MLB Network talking about the Padres offseason plans. We had the article this morning from Dennis Lin and Ken Rosenthal and Rick Gurley that all contributed to it, talking about potentially looking at all options of trading away maybe Nick Pivetta, maybe Jake Cronenworth, maybe a Fernando Tatis Jr. There are more ideas than anything else. But what is the latest you have heard on the Padres in terms of their offseason plans?
Yeah, I think let me start on the Fernando part of it. I find it kind of fascinating being here and some of the conversations I've had this morning. And I want to be very clear. I don't think the Padres are trading Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't think any of you want the Padres to trade Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't think there are any Padres fans that want this team to trade Fernando Tatis Jr. And I do not believe that is happening right now. And I personally hope it doesn't happen moving forward. However, it's just sort of amazing, like the conversations you have from a national standpoint here where, and I don't know if it's a symptom of we're just in this like climate sports culture thing where it's like, oh, well, you've got a bit of a financial crunch or you've got a lot of long-term obligations. This just means you're going to have to trade away one of these guys, to restock the farm. And hey, I don't know. I don't feel like anybody in San Diego views it that way, especially with a team that's still very, very, in my opinion, ready to win right now. But I will say it is just sort of just an observation. Amazing when you just talk with some more national type people or people from other parts of the country. And I feel like there's just this thought of, oh, well, they're just going to have to do it, at some point. And it's like, do they? I don't know. It's a really good player. It's a team that's not really good, great player, and a team that I think is still plenty capable of winning right here, right now. So that's just quickly an observation on kind of the conversations I've had this morning, because I just feel like there's a disconnect between San Diego and what I think reality is and what people seem to think, things going to happen. Just an observation there. But as far as, what was written about Pivetta today, I do think an overarching theme heading into these meetings and here today, and it's really not much different than what it's been the last handful of years, although I think this is a unique situation because I think the need is very clear, and that's starting pitching, is that they're going to have to figure this out one way or another. And it's always going to be a question with AJ Preller, how creative is that solution? Look, trading Nick Pivetta, I guess there's sense in it in one aspect. You'd also be removing your best starting pitcher and the guy who carried you last year in order to, I suppose, get more quantity or aim to get more quantity and freeing up payroll and whatever you get back. I guess I could be sold on that. But if you're trying to strengthen your rotation, well, you're creating another hole by trading a guy like Nick Pivetta away. So, whether it's Pivetta, whether it's freeing up money by moving Jake Cronenworth, whether it's neither of those things, whether that's dipping into, the Ethan Salases of the world as far as your minor league system and using that trade chip now, whatever else you have to trade from the minor league system. I do kind of stand here and wonder, okay, what is going to be the plan to acquire pitching? Because to me, that's the key right now for this team, is acquiring starting pitching. And it's not just quality, but I think it's going to have to be quantity as well. Or is Cronenworth staying put? Is Pivetta staying put? And this just becomes a function of AJ trying to find the next Pivetta, trying to find the next Michael Wacha, trying to find the next Seth Lugo, the next Michael King, even guys that you can mold into starting pitchers, and good ones at that. And I know very lengthy answer here, but the other part of this, which I think we'll probably have more information on in the next few hours when Craig Stammen is scheduled to speak here. I'll do a one-on-one with Craig a little bit later. AJ Preller will speak at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I think the other thing that we're going to find out is, what are the plans for Mason Miller? What are the plans for an Adrian Morejon? What are the plans for David Morgan? And I think that could reveal a little bit of the strategy as well as far as the starting pitching. But to me, it's all about the starting pitching right now and how they're going to piece this thing together and how creative and how wild, I suppose, AJ could get in trying to do that.
I think it's interesting that you brought up, and there's a lot of stuff to unpack from those answers. But
yeah,
I look at.
I'm sorry, very long.
But I agree with you on the sense
I'm all fired up
right.
here in the lobby,
as you should be. Being out there. I mean, that's going to be Frank and I on Friday, Thursday and Friday in Baltimore for the Army-Navy game. But here's the conversation I find interesting, is the sense of, and you brought it up, I just feel like everybody outside of Southern California just goes, well, this is how baseball's always been for the Padres, so it has to be like this all the time with there's no way that they can spend this kind of money. There's no way they get, I don't know, how many years of the Padres spending money is it going to take for people to realize that they can physically spend money and they don't have to trade away all of their best assets? That's number one. The other thing that was pointed out, and here's it's kind of to go with your thought process on everything. Let's talk about the Minnesota Twins for a second. And I don't know if you saw this article or not, but Ken Rosenthal wrote an article about why the Twins should not trade away Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez or Byron Buxton, because they want to win in 2026. I don't understand the logic on some of these articles that get put out with teams that are selling, teams that should sell, and teams that shouldn't sell based on, I just previous dynamics of what the team was back in like 1985, Sam. The Twins traded away everybody on their team last year, but they're in a position to win, apparently.
Yeah, again, it just, and I want to make sure I put this the right way. It just stands out to me when you show up here and you're having a lot of conversations with people that aren't in San Diego, and are looking at this, I guess, from a bit of a different standpoint and perspective. And I feel like, to your point, Braden, there just seems to be like this kind of shrug of the shoulders, like, well, what else are they going to do? They've got to find a way to, to free up money and ultimately, lower their payroll. Again, it's interesting to me that for a team that I think if they do things right on the rotation side, it's going to be right back in the mix in 2026. Why there's this jump to that. And you don't expect it. I don't expect it as far as the Padres moving Tatis. And look, for whatever it's worth, Joel Sherman did get up on the set behind me earlier and really shut that down, which is great. which is great because I think the Padres are the best version of the Padres with a healthy and fully productive Fernando Tatis Jr. So maybe we can put that to bed here at the winter meetings in the offseason. I hope so from, a personal standpoint.
I know there's a lot of different interviews and press conferences, scrums, all that stuff. What's the schedule today like for the San Diego Padres in particular?
Yeah. Today, Craig Stammen will speak generally with the media. What time is that? It's going to be 1:20, I believe, Pacific time. So we should have video and audio for you on here on the station and on social media. AJ will talk at 4 p.m. Here. So what is that? 1 p.m. Wait, am I getting my
3-hour difference?
What did I say? 3:20. Sorry, 12:20. Not that anybody needs to know. 12:20. Craig Stammen, 1 p.m. Pacific time for AJ Preller. And look, I think with Craig, and I'll likely do a one-on-one with Craig afterwards. Look, I there's a list of things that I want to ask Craig about. We haven't heard from Craig Stammen on the hiring of his bench coach, Randy Knorr, on Steven Souza Jr., the hitting coach. So I want to understand, what the thought process was there with hiring those two guys and Craig's relationship to them and what they can bring. So there's a bunch of things I think there are to cover with Craig, obviously, as a first-year manager and first year with the Padres. And then, with AJ Preller, the media availabilities here at the winter meetings, I don't think you're going to get anything groundbreaking per se. We know how AJ operates. He keeps things very close to the vest, which is fine, which is AJ's right. However, I will say one key thing that I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to learn today when AJ speaks is get more information on Mason Miller, Adrian Morhone, David Morgan, and what the plans are for those guys. Because I would imagine by Monday, December 8th, I would imagine they have a plan as far as what those guys are going to do heading into spring training. And we'll have an idea if any of those guys are going to be asked to stretch out heading into spring training and be starters. So I do think that's something we could learn today, and I think something we could get an answer on, and we'll go from there. Like I said, every year is different with this thing. I mean, we've had meetings where they've signed Xander Bogaerts. We've had meetings where they've traded Juan Soto. Last year was very, very quiet, and there was really no activity on the Padres standpoint. Another thing here that you always, and people can shrug their shoulders at it, but Rule 5 draft is here. Remind people the Padres selected Stephen Kolek, who not only ended up being a pretty important part of their rotation last year for a while, but was a big part of the package that netted them Freddie Fermin, who's going to be their starting catcher in all likelihood this year. So that's something to pay attention to. And, we roll along and see what transpires here.
We're talking with Sam Levitt, host of the pre- and post-game show here on 97 through the Fan for the San Diego Padres, live at the winter meetings in Orlando. From a non-Padre side, this is probably an eerie winter meetings in a sense of what might be coming at the end of the 2026 season. What are the rumblings about CBA? I mean, there's a lot of agents there right now, a lot of powers to be right there. What's the rumblings about what next year might look like and what maybe sides are digging their heels in for a next labor negotiation?
Well, I think what's going to be interesting about this offseason in general and these winter meetings as well, how do teams treat, I don't even mean like the Schwarbers of the world, the Tuckers of the world, the Framber Valdez of the world. Like the big time guys are probably going to get big time years and big time money, right? Teams are probably not going to worry about, signing those guys for long-term money. That probably is what it is. But I do wonder about the next tier. If teams are hesitant to hand out, a 2-3 year deal, knowing that, I mean, again, I don't want this to happen, but we all understand what the conversations and rumblings have been. Understanding that, hey, maybe you wouldn't play in 2027. Maybe you don't play a full season in 2027 if things, go south as far as negotiations. So how teams handle some of these free agents and the money they're looking to dole out, also just in general, the money they're looking to dole out with, a potential lockout, missing games situation, maybe looming in 27. Again, I don't hope it happens. None of us do. I'm sure no fans do as well, but I do think there's a reality of, this has been something that people have feared for a while. So how teams treat the money part of it and what they're willing to invest moving forward, beyond the tippy top of the market, I do think is a pretty interesting question and could tell you a little bit about how they feel about the labor situation. But, my general thoughts on the labor situation are you hope that, this is something they work on and figure out because, lockout, no lockout. The bottom line is when spring training starts, you want those guys to be at their complexes and opening day to happen on time because it's not good for anybody in the business and the industry when you talk about missing games. Obviously, there's going to be cases to be made on both sides, ownership, player-wise, about what needs to happen and what's good for the health and growth of the game. But just from a business standpoint, an industry standpoint, I think it'd be safe to say most of us are probably rooting against any kind of stoppage whatsoever. That would not be good.
They would not be good. What is going to be good is talking to Sam a couple of days in a row. I have live for the winter meetings. Gets us a lot of updates throughout. He'll be on all of our shows throughout the week, doing a good job reporting. And be sure to be tuned to social media at Sammy Lev, as well as the 97 through the fan pages for all of the content that is coming up next. Expect Craig Stammen and AJ Preller stuff in the next hour or so. Coming up on social media pages. We will try to play that on the show as well. Sam, great job as always. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Thanks again for the time.
All right, guys. I don't know what I'm going to do for lunch. The food options here
Oh no!
It's always a problem at the winter meetings. Got very limited.
How far are you away
options
from civilization of being able to venture off campus here?
I don't know where I am. I haven't left the hotel since I got here at 10 last night.
Give a phone call. Give a phone call to the mouse. See if he can hook you up with some food out there. You know what? You should go do the Epcot tour. Go buy a ticket for Epcot. Walk around. Try all the food. Your little social media stuff. Try to compare the food spots at Epcot to Major League Baseball teams. Come on, we're creating content and feeding Sam.
I gotta go talk to Craig Stammen and AJ Preller. I got my hands full. So. All right, guys, I'll see you.
All right, see you, Sam. That's awesome. Not a lot of good food options out there, apparently, Frank. That's a shame. Come on, man. Feed Sam. Hashtag feed Sam.
No, it is a shame, unfortunately. And I mean, who's to say that you can't splurge a little bit after Preller and Stammen?
That's what I'm saying.
Have some fun, man.
You know what? You got
get the job done, and then once AJ Preller is finished telling you everything you need to know, then go have some fun.
You know what? I think people need to tweet at Sam food options in Orlando. Hashtag feed Sammy. Feed Sammy. Hashtag starving Sam. Okay, he's not that hungry. Come on. He's not that hungry. Let's go. Hashtag feed Sam. Get Frank a tree. Like a Christmas tree?
Oh, yeah.
Where is this in Orlando? It's like some hotel or something.
I have no idea.
They're at the Hilton or Marriott Bonnet, JW Marriott Bonnet Creek Resort. There's got to be good food places over there. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, they have a live stream going on right now on MLB.com of two people speaking at the winter meetings. You want to take a guess who's speaking right now?
Is it Scott Boras?
Hey, Birdland.
Wow. We got to go.
Craig Alvarez is on live right now on MLB.com.
Well, we're in Baltimore. We gotta do something outside Camden Yachts. Hey, Birdland. Get excited. Every time I see something Orioles this week, I'm literally gonna say, "Hey, Birdland." I hope you're ready for that.
I could tell it's not gonna get old.
No, it's gonna be great. Hey, Birdland.
It's not gonna make me want to jump off a bridge, I'm sure.
Speaking of Birdland, Orioles making moves, but not on a couple of middle infielders that you would think. We're going to talk about what the moves are for Baltimore, everything else that's circling around Major League Baseball at the winter meetings. We'll keep you updated on anything that's Padres related. We should be getting sound from Craig Stammen and AJ Preller later on in the noon hour. We're going to get to all of that when we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Room Sports Station 97 through the Fan. It's a foul on the social media teams on that. Crazy. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Just so many I can't believe they get away with some of this stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I don't.
We got Nick in the chat. Just noticed the baseball on the like.
See, there
Give
you
us
go.
a like, dude.
Told
I'm
you.
telling you. All these people in the chat, there's 100 of you. Hit the like button. Do it all at the same time. Something fun happens every time. And I'm not BSing you.
I mean,
You hit the like. I've re-hit the like button like 14 times. It doesn't get you more likes, but I just do it for the little animation. It's sweet.
You know that we ask you guys to like the stream. We never pin it. We never pin a message saying, "Hey guys, like the stream. Something cool happens." We did that for a reason.
We did it today.
It's cool.
Do it. The like button's great. We got 31 likes now. 31 people have seen the baseball
There you go.
get thrown. Or maybe it's a home run. You don't know. That's awesome. Give a stream a like for a surprise. You put it on there?
Yeah,
31 people have jumped in on that. That's great.
That's our pin tweet for the day.
I love it. That's great. I didn't know that was a thing on YouTube chat. That's awesome. All right, let's talk more about the winter meet. We got through half of the some of the rumors with some of the whatever it's called, the lesser names, if you will. We got through the Red Sox. Here's something very interesting. Something very interesting about this report. Luis Arraez. In this article about lesser names drawing interest, it sounded like the Rangers were interested in Luis Arraez, except for the fact that he is, quote, likely too expensive for Texas despite the fit. New Rangers manager Skip Schumacher loves Arraez and sees him as a fit, but Texas is cutting payroll. They need a catcher. They need bullpen help. They need starting pitching. Arraez could fit in as a DH versus lefties, a first base versus righties, and a platoon with Jake Berger, occasional second base. Even at a discount, Arraez may exceed Texas's budget. I think this lays into an account of, one, is Arraez going to cost too much money for teams to sign? Or two, is he just not going to have a big market, Frank? I can't imagine it. We talked about this a lot during the season. I can't imagine him having a big market. And the fact that like a team like Texas, who Skip Schumacher's their new manager, who had Arraez in Miami, wants him on the team, but Texas says he's too expensive. I don't see Arraez having that great of a market this year.
He's one of those guys I think is going to sign late when the prices go down because you're trying to get on a team. I think that's where you're going to see Arraez. And I've said it many times. I'll say it one more time. His play style is of a bygone era. And if he's not doing what his play style is meant for, he doesn't bring a lot of value. Sure, he'll run into a fastball every now and again. He'll hit a home run. Sure, he's not a net negative defensive player, but he's not going to blow you away either. Unless he's hitting 300 or better, Luis Arraez does not have the value that many people think he has. So I believe he's going to be one of those guys who we're going to see at the beginning of February or at the back end of January, still looking for a roster because his price is too expensive for what he is.
And some people I saw like the Arraez lovers was like, does that mean like Tony Gwynn is not worth? Tony Gwynn could play defense, dude. Like he had a lot of stuff going for him that wasn't
steal
just
bases.
Right. He was hitting over 300 almost every single year. It's like it's not a comparison. Just because Arraez is a contact hitter doesn't mean like I know they had the comparisons before and it would look like it early in his career, but he's not even close to Tony Gwynn. Not even close.
No.
It's a different thing. Tony was a great outfielder. He was a Hall of Fame player. Luis Arraez is not.
Luis Arraez can hit really, really well. Other than that, what is he?
Correct. I mean, he's like a replacement level player. He's not somebody that's going to command like what he probably thinks he deserves or is at the time where he could try to cash in. And I don't find Luis Arraez to be a bat that a lot of teams are going to go after. Let's talk about Birdland.
Hey, Birdland.
There it is. Orioles are making moves, but not on Bichette and Bregman. Baltimore is finishing a $21 million state-of-the-art player development facility in Sarasota, which is cool. I do know one of their player development people now, which is great. They remain in on Kyle Tucker and other top hitters. Another frontline starter to pair with Trevor Rogers and Kyle Bradish is another thing they want to do, but Bichette and Bregman aren't targets. Infield already set except for first base. Let's talk about the Baltimore Orioles. Do we believe this, or do we have to wait for them to actually pull the trigger to do it? They've pulled the trigger on a couple moves already, but I just don't see them signing a guy like Kyle Tucker.
I don't see that either. And we're seeing now that he is the Baltimore's looking at Pete Alonso. They've already they've had a meeting with Pete Alonso to fill that first base vacancy. I see them pulling the trigger on a big name. I have a feeling it's going to be a starting pitcher. I don't see it being a Kyle Tucker or a Pete Alonso. I see it being a starting pitcher, and that'll probably be the last of their big moves from what I guess.
That would be my guess too. Here's the A's now. A's are funny to me. It says A's are increasing their payroll, but not just for stars. A's are slowly gearing up for Las Vegas in 2028. They need a second baseman, but aren't in on Bichette or Ketel Marte. More realistic targets, Brandon Lau, Jeff McNeil, and they're not interested in dumping Luis Severino's $42 million contract for free. What do we think the A's plan is? That could be a case study.
Do they have a plan?
They want to be competitive in 2028. I don't know why you would try to go get Brandon Lau or Jeff McNeil.
Yeah.
That's not adding payroll. That's not adding payroll that's going to help you in 2028.
Unless you're just using them as the stopgap until Leo DeVries is up, and then that way you have Wilson and DeVries as your middle infield. That could be a way you look at it. Forgetting those guys, make you at least somewhat competitive in the American League West. Because remember, you have to be, if you're Oaklamento, you have to be somewhat competitive. Otherwise, you're not going to get people to buy season tickets in Vegas. So you have to play around a little bit. And this is one of the ways that they could do that, is by bringing in a name, somebody who is known around baseball as a player. Jeff McNeil has a batting title, if I remember correctly. Bring him in, and then once Leodalis DeVries is ready to go, then you do whatever you want with McNeil. Plus, McNeil can play the outfield. He can do a little bit of different things. Lau is another interesting decision that they could make. They have to be competitive, otherwise they're hurting themselves going into Vegas. So this is one of the ways I see them doing it.
I can see that too. I think they're a year early on guys like McNeil and Brandon Lau.
Right, but again, you can use those guys for season ticket sales.
Yeah, you want to sell out Vegas. You don't want to sell out like the Oaklamento thing's different. Right. I know, but what I'm saying is they're not those in 3 years. Those guys are not selling season tickets.
Right, but you have to be competitive in order to get people in Vegas to buy season tickets.
That's what you do in 2026, or sorry, in 2027 and 2028. The stadium ain't going to be ready in 2028. Have they even started that thing yet? Did they finally break ground on that thing?
I honestly don't know.
That's like 2027 moves.
Not my week to watch.
Because they're like they're like 1 year deal guys. If you want to go get a younger player, like Ketel Marte makes more sense to me. Even though they said they're out on Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte makes more sense to me if you're the A's. Because he's under control for those 2 years that you're going to be playing not in Las Vegas, and then the first couple of years of him in Vegas. That makes more sense. But guys on 1 year contracts, or like Jeff McNeil on a $15.7 million contract. By the way, he's not going to be. You have a club option in 2027. So he can't. I mean, you're gonna have to sign him to a contract extension. Are you signing Jeff McNeil to a contract extension at age 33? No. I mean, we're just using the term that they will make it there by 2028. It looks
like they have broken ground.
But I can't imagine it to be the case. The other one too. So we said Jeff McNeil, and then who was the Brandon Lau from Tampa. Brandon Lau. He's a free agent in 2027. those guys are not the right moves. You got to find like a second baseman that's under control for a couple years, or middle infielder under control for a couple years. And to me, you get a guy like a year before you move to Vegas, who's an established player. But I just know they've had problem after problem after problem. I can't imagine them opening up in 2028.
I don't want to promote the A's in any way, shape, or form, but I'm going to here. Ballpark.
He speaks for himself, not for the show.
Ballparkexperience.athletics.com/construction.
That's fun.
They have a live stream.
What a website.
Of the construction going on right now. I am watching.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm a nerd.
Nerd.
They have basically the concourse from the lower concourse skeleton from third base all the way around to first base is basically done. They've got pillars up pretty much all around the ballpark. They've got some foundations down for buildings that are going to be in the outfield. So they have more than broken ground on this thing. And the fact that I could watch it happen live is
well, we found
dangerous.
Something that Frank's going to be able to do for the next 3 years. Just watch the building of Las Vegas' new baseball stadium. That's amazing. I can't believe you are physically wasting time doing that.
I am going to. What else am I doing?
I don't know.
I'm certainly not working.
Let's talk about who the Padres just signed. They made a signing, Frank. They got another pitcher. Who is it? We'll talk about him when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing us over on Sports Station 97 to the Fan. Remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all of the fan staff. Register your name at 97throughthefanst.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. This hour on 97 Through the Fan is brought to you by SDG&E. Take control of your energy use and help save this winter. Use large appliances outside of on-peak hours of 4 to 9 and unplug devices when not in use. Find more tips at sdge.com/simple steps. Padres got a new pitcher, Frank.
Do they now?
Dason Acosta. Dason. That's his pronunciation guide on there. Dason Acosta. He's a 27-year-old from the Dominican Republic, 6'2", 196-pound right-hander. He has starts in his baseball career and bullpen use in his baseball career. His last handful of seasons, from age 23 on, he's been strictly a bullpen guy. He has not started a game since he started 10 in 2022 for High A Brooklyn as part of the minor leagues. He has not participated, I don't think, in the major leagues yet. It's all been minor league and winter league stuff. As for Dason Acosta, he last played this past season in the Nationals organization, played for 3 teams. He played in AAA, AA, and Single A. In AAA, Washington, he was 1-0 with a 4.71 ERA. In AA, he was 4-1 with a 0.90 ERA, and then he made one appearance in low A ball, but I think that was for some type of whatever situation of terms of injury. And he threw 1 inning without allowing a hit. So that was good for his little rehab start. But did it say if it was a major league contract?
I think we kind of came to the conclusion from a couple of weeks ago when they signed Ty Adcock.
When they announce it on the...
Yeah, I think it's kind of when you announce it, it's a major league deal. I would have to assume that this is a major league deal.
Yeah, they would have said a minor league potential thing. But anyway, Dason Acosta. We'll try to get more information on him as the afternoon continues. I think he's been playing in the Dominican Winter League, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the second pitcher to get signed by the Padres that has played in the Dominican Winter League.
Filling up bullpen depth.
Yeah, bullpen depth is right. Haven't really been able to see any video of him pitching yet, but Padres have announced that they have signed right-hander pitcher Dason Acosta to a 1-year contract through to the 2026 season.
Padre fans, if you're near a television, Craig Stammen is on MLB Network as we speak. Again, don't turn us off to listen to that. Listen to both. But Craig Stammen is on MLB Network as we speak right now.
So, well, they're going to have Craig's going to be on MLB Network, and then he's going to be with the Scrum, and then he's going to be with Sam.
Yes.
In the next hour or so. We'll probably get more information on that. Let's get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop sitting on the sidelines. QC Kinetics gets you back in the game without surgery. To learn how, visit QCkinetics.com.
All right, Frank, what's going on in the sports world not involving the Padres?
Let's start off with
Number 1.
Now, this is not a story per se. This is just the craziness that has been the college football coaching carousel as we speak. So at the moment, Tulane, as we know, their head coach is going to Florida. Yes, so he's going to Florida.
Old USD offensive coordinator, by the way.
Yes. Will Hall, veteran assistant coach at Tulane, will be their new head coach. So that has been announced. The Tennessee Vols have fired defensive coordinator Tim Banks. So there's a So there's a defensive coordinator position open.
They were lousy on defense the last
Yes.
3 or 4 years. So
Memphis has hired.
That's a massive difference.
Yeah, there is. Has hired Charles Huff as their head coach after 1 season at Southern Miss. And also, ex-Virginia Tech coach Brent Pry will be the Hokies defensive coordinator. So he is back with the program. Instead of being the head coach, old head coach is back at the program.
They fired
Pry
in September. Then they hired James Franklin, and then James Franklin hired Pry because he was his DC at Penn State before he took the Virginia Tech job. So now he's the DC. He's like, they had the meme on there. It was George Costanza going back to work after he quit.
Yes.
Pretending like nothing happened.
Hey,
hilarious. Yeah, hilarious.
And then I believe I did see San Diego State lost somebody. I believe it was their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, their DC went to the Big Ten.
Yes, went to Nebraska. So that's where so that's where San Diego State.
Coaching carousel news. It's usually a domino effect. I mean, you're going to see a lot of other guys moving around. I mean, Washington State needs a head coach now with the whole fiasco of Penn State hiring Matt Campbell, and then Iowa State in about 50 seconds hiring the Washington State head coach, and now Washington State needs a new head coach.
So, I mean, there you go. It has been properly nuts this offseason, though.
Number 2.
I want you to follow me on this one. I know you're not the biggest international soccer fan, but this has local ties. Mohamed Salah has been omitted from the Liverpool squad for their Champions League match tomorrow with Inter Milan. Liverpool have temporarily removed him from the selection following an explosive interview in which he took aim at the club's head coach and other members of the organization. In his news conference on Monday ahead of the Inter game, Arne Slot, who is the head coach for Liverpool, said he was caught off guard by Salah's comments about his treatment by the club. Salah has not played in the last 3 games, and now he's completely off the roster for the Champions League game. There have been rumors swirling over the summer that the biggest name that Egyptian football has ever had could be coming to San Diego FC. Is this the first step in now seeing San Diego FC get a premier world-class player the same way we've seen out of LAFC getting Son, the way we've seen Inter Miami with Lionel Messi and others?
I think so. I mean, this is a big sign that they would need. I mean, they tried to do it with Chucky Lozano right when they first started, but I think this would be the bigger, better one. And I think you're going to start seeing more of that in the MLS. The more people support the MLS, the more money they make, the more they can spend on big-time players, which would create more money and revenue. So I think that's the case.
And Mohamed Salah has been with Liverpool for years, and he has been their star player for years. So this is a properly massive name that has been linked to San Diego FC for next year.
Number 3.
Rookie Shedeur Sanders will remain as the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns' final 4 games of the season. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has announced Sanders, the 144th overall pick in this year's draft, started the previous 3 games. He is now going to play the remainder of the season. Surprised that they're not going back to Dylan Gabriel. I'm honestly surprised that they're sticking with Shedeur.
I'm not surprised. I thought when they drafted Shedeur, I thought he'd be the starting quarterback by November because they had nobody. They weren't going to go with Deshaun Watson, right? They had Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel. They drafted as well, but he wasn't very when he got drafted. I was like, that he doesn't translate to the NFL either. They're going to get into a jam. They're going to be bad, and then Shedeur's going to take over, and they're just going to let Shedeur play the rest of the year, and that's exactly what they're doing. So no, I'm not overly surprised.
So do you think that they are, oh God, they're showing Tirso Ornelas as the projected DH for the Padres next year?
Well, currently he would be the
with
DH.
with
not?
Gavin Sheets at first base. That's a sight to behold. Anyway, so are you surprised that Shador is the starting quarterback because they think he's good enough to be the starting quarterback, or are they just trying to eat up the last 4 games?
I think it's both. I mean, he's going to eat up the last 4 games, and I think they're going to try to see what they got with him.
Because remember,
playing NFL games.
Because remember, they didn't look too shocked about drafting. They didn't look too happy about drafting him.
The team personnel did not.
Right.
I'm sure the owner was stoked. They're going to let him play. I mean, Kevin Stefanski, you don't even know if he's going to be the coach there next year. Here's Shador. I'm not surprised.
Well,
it's the Browns, dude.
We're gonna save a lot of the college football stuff. We have Mark Neville coming up in the next segment to talk about the Holiday Bowl, and we'll try to save as much of the Notre Dame Miami stuff for when we can fit it in here.
Yeah, I mean, the Notre Dame, we're going to get to a lot of that. It's the winter meetings going on right now, which impacts us, obviously, with the San Diego Padres. But at the same time, like later on in the week, we're going to have a lot of time. I mean, you're going to have a lot of time to talk about the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Because it takes forever for that thing to get started. But I think not this weekend, but the following weekend, they start the first round games. Mm-hmm. At least they move that up. There's a lot of stuff. In fact, we're going to talk later in the week about some collective bargaining in college football that's starting to populate. Noon hour comes to go back.
Playoffs. Fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on 97.3 The Fan. We've talked a lot of Padres baseball, a lot of winter meetings, a lot of MLB in the first couple of hours. Now to try to change gears a little bit and talk about college football. We're going to talk about the college football playoff and the seedings and the selections, all the drama that was involved with that. But also, we want to highlight postseason football coming to San Diego. It's Arizona. It's SMU. That was announced yesterday at Snapdragon Stadium for the Holiday Bowl. And it's now the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. And joining us now, the CEO of Sports San Diego, Mark Neville, who has done a great job putting together a lot of events with his team to come to San Diego to drive tourism to our beautiful city during a lot of times of the year where we don't have a lot of tourism, joins us now on the Braden Surprenant Show. Always great talking with Mark. And we bring on Mark. Mark, how's it going? What's going on a Monday?
Hey, it's going pretty great today after the matchup that we got for this year's Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. But before that, I'm kind of surprised, Braden. I did hear from you after our most recent event, the Rady Children's Invitational, in which your alma mater, surprisingly, I think, even, took the championship. Go TCU. Yeah,
that was phenomenal. You know what? Hopefully nobody finds out about, a TCU alumni being a red jacket. We don't need any fooling around thinking that we staged it for the TCU Horned Frogs, but they played great. I was going to ask you, Mark, before we get to the Holiday Bowl, the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl, from your guys' side, I mean, obviously it's fun watching my alma mater win, but how was that event for another year? How did that work out for everybody? Give us the update on everything that went well on your guys' side.
I don't know that it could have gone much better. That event is already, it's only 3 years old, but it's already recognized as one of the premier early season basketball tournaments in the country. And, next year, this is nothing against your Horned Frogs, because your coach, Jamie Dixon, is awesome. And we had a good field this year. Next year, we got UCLA, we got Texas, we got Georgetown, and we got St. Mary's. And I think it's pretty safe to say that event will sell out months before the event takes place. So Rady Children's Invitational is in a good spot, and it exceeded the expectations even on tourism numbers, which the whole reason we exist is to drive tourism demand, put people in the restaurants, support the jobs, create tax revenues, put people in the hotels, attractions, and the Rady Children's Invitational exceeded expectations in a significant way. So, it was a great event.
We talked with Jamie Dixon on the Monday of that Thanksgiving week, and he talked about how great it was to be in there and how they wanted to be in that tournament for a couple of years. Things didn't align, but it sounds like for a lot of people that we've talked to in college basketball, there's a lot of teams and big-time schools that want to be a part of this, and I know you're working on all the future games as well, really down the road where you can't release a lot of that information yet, but it's great that that's really taken off. Let's talk about the big events that you guys always put on, the Holiday Bowl, the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. You had a exciting weekend when it comes to getting the new sponsorship, but also take us through yesterday. I mean, yesterday was kind of a wait and see. I know you guys have to deal with that. I mean, things seem to get crazier and crazier in college football. What was yesterday like for Mark Neville and the Red Jackets that you had to wait for the ACC and some other things? But how was yesterday, and how did we get to the matchup of SMU and Arizona?
Come on, piece of cake. No issues whatsoever. I will tell you, if you go back a few weeks, the Arizona SMU matchup was the matchup we were hoping we would get, and we got it. It was kind of it wasn't a straight line to get to it. Obviously it's well documented that Notre Dame just pulled out of full consideration. So that created a ripple effect throughout the entire landscape. And you don't want to be unintended consequences of a move like that. But it was, and then it just worked out. I mean, we got the matchup we wanted. We got the number 17 coming from Arizona. They're hot right now. They won 5 straight. They got the territorial cut back, beating Arizona State over Thanksgiving weekend. We got SMU. They were a playoff team a year ago, and still had a great season at 8-4. And I was happy to see the original line on the game is that we got a close game. We got a great game coming to San Diego, and January 2nd is an awesome date for us. People, in terms of tourism, they're going to be staying longer because they don't have to worry about traveling on Christmas. And the teams are excited. I will say it's been a long time since we've had 2 teams that are this excited about coming. Like, they are fired up. And in fact, the ticket sales in the first 24 hours may be the best that we've had in a decade. And so expect a huge crowd at Snapdragon Stadium on January 2nd. And if your listeners out there, I wouldn't wait. This is going to be a big event. And as the anticipation builds, especially after Christmas, those tickets they may not even be there. Frankly, I hope they're not. So I would encourage everybody to get those tickets now, because this is I would fit this up it's a top 5 bowl game outside of the playoff. So yeah, this is a good one. I'm much happier today and feel much more at ease than I did a week ago. That's for sure.
I think it's a great matchup. It's 2 teams that have played in very memorable Holiday Bowls in the past, not necessarily against each other, but have been here before way back in the day when it was at Qualcomm Stadium and Jack Murphy Stadium. So it'd be cool to get a little nostalgia Holiday Bowl coming up in this on January 2nd. You mentioned the game day. I mean, obviously that's great. You got to deal with Fox, which is awesome. You got a great kickoff time, and I think a lot of people have that day off as a holiday too, the day after the New Year's Day. So it should be a fun weekend. But for everybody, let's say, Mark, I mean, there's a lot of people that want to.
Real quickly, Brad, what we're kind of taking that on too. We're going to own that January 2nd. We're telling people the holidays ain't over till we say they're over. And I think January 2nd is a perfect way to wrap up the holidays. And again, I got to tell you also, Trust and Will, I can't say enough about them. We needed someone to join us as our entitlement partner. We rely on the community for this event, ticket sales and other sponsorships and civic contributions and things. And Trust and Will showed themselves to be a true community partner and a great citizen for San Diego. Not only are we lucky to have them as our title sponsor for the Holiday Bowl, but our entire community is lucky to have them because they truly are. They're invested in this community, and I can't thank them enough.
What I was going to get to, Mark, too, is like with the week. I mean, for people that can't attend the game or miss out on tickets, you guys have a lot of great events throughout the week for Bowl Week for everybody that's an SMU fan, an Arizona fan, but also San Diegans that wanted to come out and check out all the festivities. What's the Holiday Bowl week like? What are some of the events that expect to see around San Diego, maybe for a lot of traveling parties that want to come out here? It's not just the football game. There's a lot of build-up and lead-up that the Holiday Bowl puts on.
Yeah, and the one event that we produce on game day that has always had more people than even at the game is our parade that we do downtown, the Port of San Diego Holiday Bowl Parade presented by Kaiser Permanente. I mean, it's, we built it as the largest balloon parade in the country, and with the floats and the marching bands, and it has become a tradition for a couple generations now, that on game day morning, it'll be at 10 o'clock on Harbor Drive. That parade takes place at 10 o'clock. And then right before that, we also have the Port of San Diego game day 5K. So we got a 5K run that takes place. We got some events the night before. We got part of getting a game ticket for the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. The first 10,000 fans in attendance get a free SeaWorld ticket, which is great. I mean, and then the pageantry that surrounds the game with the halftime show and our military tribute for pregame. And then, events leading up to it, as you were saying, it is a special time it's a celebration of college football. It's a celebration of bowl season, but even more than that, it's a celebration of San Diego. And we encourage and invite everybody to join us, because there's something for everyone, whether it's the parade or the game itself. Even if you're not a football fan, you're going to have a great time at the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. So I encourage everyone, go to holidaybowl.com. All the information is there.
Last thing I got for you, Mark. I mean, obviously, this game's going to be fun. I know you're focused on this one, but obviously, potential games in the future. If I'm not mistaken, this is the last year of the ACC Pac-12 potential deal. It sounds like a lot of the bowl games contracts are up. What can you speak on in terms of, future entities with the Holiday Bowl, if you can? I know you might not be able to, but a lot of bowl games are changing their contracts in the near future, but it sounds like the Holiday Bowl is in a really good spot for years to come.
We are. The Holiday Bowl is going to stick around. And what the matchups will be and all that stuff, I can't tell you right now, but know that I think I've heard from nearly every conference asking what our plans are in the future. So we gotta bob and weave a little bit as the playoff gets sorted out, because that will kind of dictate what it looks like in the future for us. But I will tell you, the weeks leading up to the selection, I feel like the prettiest girl at the dance. And I think you know me well enough that I'm not ever the prettiest girl there, Braden. But San Diego is the best bowl destination in the country. Our volunteers, the red coats like yourselves, do better jobs than any volunteer corps in the country. And the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl has a tremendous reputation. Everybody wants to play here. And so we got two teams who want to be here, two teams who are going to be largely intact from everything I'm hearing. And we have two teams that want to win this game. And so it is going to be a special night, January 2nd at Snapdragon Stadium, no doubt. And your listeners aren't going to want to miss it. At holidaybowl.com. It's a big event and a celebration for football in San Diego.
We're looking forward to it, Mark. Again, it might be the red jacket. Maybe that's why you're getting approached a lot of these deals. It's a nice looking jacket, Mark. The red jacket.
I don't make it look good, but I'm proud to wear it. That's for sure.
We appreciate the time as always. I'm sure we'll have you on closer to the bowl game itself. But congrats on the matchup, and should be a fun couple of weeks for you, getting everything planned and finished on the details. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Braden.
Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive into some more rumors going out there in Major League Baseball. And a little bit later, we'll talk, a little college football and get to the NFL and everything like that. Craig Stammen is expected to meet with Sam Levitt later on this hour. AJ Preller is expected to speak at Winter Meetings. Later on this hour, we will try to get you those interviews in the 1 o'clock hour. But a lot going down in Orlando at the Winter Meetings, a lot going on in sports. Stick it right here on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. All guests on 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Let's talk a little college football while we have the chance. We'll spend too much time on it. We're still waiting to hear about what's going on in the winter meetings. Get anything else out of it. We do know that the Padres did sign a relief pitcher in Dason Acosta today. He has yet to make his major league debut, but a young arm with high upside. Slider looks pretty good, but we'll probably get more information on him as the days go on. It sounds like Craig Stammen and AJ Preller are going to be talking with the media at some point during this hour. And we will talk as much about the Padres winter meetings as possible, as long as we continue to get, obviously, information and new information. We'll pass it along as the week goes on. That's going to be our coverage for Monday through Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, we'll be in Baltimore for our show before the Army-Navy game on Saturday. Frank's excited. I'm excited. And then back to a normal week next week. And I mean, it's getting down to the final couple weeks of the regular season for us, Frank, the regular calendar year before we start looking at 2026. But real quick, excited about the Holiday Bowl. It's going to be a good matchup, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I was very excited for you when I saw that Arizona was going to be in here, and then to see SMU coming in to represent the ACC. I had fun last year with it being Syracuse representing the ACC, and now with Arizona representing the Pac-12 this year, because they still have that contract where they can pick other Pac-12, like the old original Pac-12 representatives, which is why Arizona's in here as the Pac-12 rep. It's going to be a fun game. It'll be a really, really interesting game. Also, I don't know about you, but I felt a little slighted by where San Diego State ended up. You had your season end in New Mexico. You had the bowl game. You had the Mountain West Championship game lost in New Mexico. And now the bowl committee makes you go right back. That feels a little rude to me.
Well, I mean, the bowl committee doesn't.
No, I know
that,
that's no, I know it's just the way it happened.
Kind of
but,
the tie-ins with the Mountain West. I mean, that's kind of where you're going to be. I'd still rather play there than the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Agreed, but it's just the San Diego State having to go back immediately to the same exact building that they ruined their entire season with.
It's kind of odd that they play in the same place back-to-back weeks or back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the bowl selection process is interesting for them. They all have different rules now, but these are all getting changed next year. So basically how it plays out is the Mountain West champion, if they're an automatic qualifier bid, in which they're one of the 5 highest ranked conference champions, they get to go to the college football playoff. They were not one of those. So then they go to the LA Bowl. And then,
which I believe is the very first bowl. The
very
first Big 12, the very first Division I bowl.
I think they play
the 13th on Saturday.
They play during the Army-Navy game, which I think is dumb. I think Army-Navy should be standalone.
Agreed, 100%.
I mean, the fact that they're playing a bowl game, during the Army-Navy game or before, whatever. Like that the Army-Navy game to me should always be a standalone football game.
Yeah, they're playing. Oh, no, they're at night.
So they're the nightcap of the Army-Navy deal.
The D2 game, the Cricket Celebration Bowl between South Carolina State and Prairie View, that's head-to-head.
Yes.
That's head-to-head with the Army-Navy game. The LA Bowl, Boise State, Washington, that's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
And then if a slot is open from the Big 10 to the Big 12, the Mountain West will be the primary backup in the rate bowl, which used to be the guaranteed rate bowl. And then they got rid of, I guess, the sponsors, and now it's just the rate bowl. ESPN Events has the next selection of available teams for one of its 4 games listed in the box of Hawaii, New Mexico, Idaho, and any other bowl game that is available, which is likely in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex because they have like 3 or 4 of the bowl games.
Yeah.
They also have the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. They have the next selection of available teams in there. So because of all that, they end up in the New Mexico Bowl, which TCU won last year.
Well, and if we get down to that bowl, there's a problem.
Natural Casings Bowl.
The Frank's Natural Casings Bowl. That is a problem.
So I don't want to spend too much time on bowl games because we have weeks to do it. But initially, I thought the overall situation with the bowl game with all of the deal with Notre Dame, and we're going to dive deeper into this like later on in the show, but like Notre Dame causing a fiasco of opting out and like we're not playing in bowl games and all this, bitching, moaning, and complaining because they didn't make the college football playoff, which by the way, next year they're contractually obligated to make the college football playoff if they finish in a certain threshold. Since they don't have a conference, they get the benefit of keeping the TV contract with NBC that they don't have to share. They get the benefit of being contractually obligated to get a playoff bid and not get bumped by a conference champion.
Have you seen their schedule next year?
It's terrible. It's beyond terrible.
They play. Oh, let me get it up here.
You pull that up, and I will pull up the college football playoff rankings. If that rule was in play this year, what it means is, because you look at the rankings for the college football playoff, what it means is if that rule was in play, Notre Dame finished 11th in the college football playoff rankings. That means they would not get bumped for a conference champion. They got bumped for a conference champion this year, so did BYU, because they finished 11th and 12th, and the top 5 rated conference champions made the playoff, which I thought was funny. When they made this rule, I was like, oh, there's a possibility that 2 group of 5 schools could potentially make it. Everyone's like, there's no way that's ever going to happen.
Well, son of a gun.
2 years into this, 2 group of 5 schools made it. James Madison and Tulane. So Tulane got the 11th seed, bumped Notre Dame. James Madison got the 12th seed, bumped BYU. And so if this was the case, if this rule that is contractually obligated for Notre Dame to be in the college football playoff and they finish in the top 12, they couldn't get bumped, which means the next team that's getting bumped is Miami. That means Miami wouldn't have made the playoff, and it would have been Notre Dame as the 10 seed, And then it would have been Tulane as the 11 and James Madison the 12. And then Notre Dame would have been in. Miami would have been out. And they wouldn't even have been able to do the head-to-head wouldn't have worked out either. They would have to be in the game.
Miami was always going to make it in over Notre Dame.
They should have, but what took them so long was the whole, they didn't. Their reasoning for it, though, was dumb.
Which was?
They didn't want to use head-to-head until they were right next to each other in the rankings. And it was the last possible tiebreaker, they said, was head-to-head. But that's a joke.
So if you do that, though, if you didn't want that, why didn't you put two teams between them? Because no matter what BYU did, you were going to have Notre Dame and Miami be right next to each other. So if that was your tiebreaker, you should have had two teams between the two of them. Because if BYU wins that game, they jump Notre Dame. Notre Dame falls to 11, Miami's there at 12. There's your tiebreaker. BYU lost. They fall behind Miami. Miami goes up to 11. There's your tiebreaker.
But here's the deal. But they talk out of both sides of their mouth the entire time. And finally, national media pundits have talked about what a sham this entire thing is. It's just an invitational.
You never should have. You never should have put Miami over Notre Dame to begin with. If you were going to end up using head-to-head, you never should have put Notre Dame over Miami to begin with.
But they don't view head-to-head as being important unless they're right next to each other. They have it as the lowest tiebreaker. So that was the lowest tiebreaker for them. But their reasoning on a lot of stuff was BS. The BYU thing, right? They said, BYU showed why they shouldn't be in the playoff by getting blown out by Texas Tech. They moved down.
Yeah, and Alabama
got smoked. Didn't move a single spot. Well, we thought that they had the hardest strength. They had the most difficult schedule throughout the entire season, and they deserved it anyway. Just shut up. It's terrible. It's terrible. How are teams moving up and down on this? For playing in the conference championship game, you can't say we're not going to punish teams that play in a conference championship game and then punish the team that played in a conference championship game. Meanwhile, you're not punishing Alabama. Well, they're in the SEC, so it's slightly different.
Here's Notre Dame's schedule for next season. This is the schedule that they have to be in the top 12 for. Wisconsin is the opener at Lambeau Field.
They're going to kill them.
Rice.
Nice.
Michigan State.
Finished almost dead last in the Big Ten.
Purdue.
Doofs.
North Carolina.
Maybe they'll be good next year.
Navy. All right, fair.
They always play Navy.
Miami. Okay, fair. Boston College.
Nope.
SMU. Okay, you actually have one decent.
They don't get to pick that game, though. That's given to them by the ACC.
Right. Syracuse.
Stanford.
USC. Your excuses, short of we don't want to share the NBC television rights money. What is Notre Dame's excuse for not joining a conference at this point?
It's just money.
Exactly. Short of that, what is your excuse?
That's it. They want to be able to build their own schedule and do their own stuff and
build their own
share
schedule.
Money. They get their own TV contract. That's the only reason. The only reason.
They want to build their own schedule full of legacy opponents. Your legacy opponents are perennially at the bottom of the ACC and Big Ten.
How about this, though, too? Half of the teams that you said in there that were good, you said fair Miami, fair SMU, fair USC.
Navy.
What do those all have in common?
Well,
none of them are on the road.
No.
They're hosting SMU. They're hosting Miami. They play Navy in Foxborough. Big flipping deal.
Neutral site. And they have a neutral site that they haven't pinned down yet for USC.
Right. But they don't have to play at USC. They don't have to play at SMU. They don't have to play at Miami.
And USC has not been nationally recognized since Leinart and Reggie Bush. You cannot say that USC is a good game. It's not. I'm not going to say anything because
TCU plays in a bowl game, but
you are looking for an excuse to, one, keep all the television rights money for yourself, and two, play the worst that the Big Ten and the ACC have to offer every single year, cruise to 11-1, 10-2, and just and make the playoff every year. That is all Notre Dame is trying to do. They have done nothing worth the credit that they get. They are coasting off a reputation they built in the 60s and 70s. They had the championship in 88. Good for you. They've done nothing since. They've made 2 national championship games since then.
Yeah, one of them they got smoked.
Yes.
Smoked.
All you are doing is being greedy by keeping the money, and you want the easiest schedule possible by playing the worst that the Big Ten and the ACC have to offer, and hiding behind, they're legacy games. Pick a conference. Pick a conference where you can have those legacy games, please. It's embarrassing. You're
the SEC
not special.
and the Big Ten had the opportunity, the college football playoff people had the opportunity to totally bleep over Notre Dame by making it impossible to make it for them. And instead they signed this deal to make sure they're guaranteed to get into the playoff if they finish in the top 12, which, by the way, if they expand the playoff, that's in the contract. If they expand the playoff, they have more room to fit in. And then it jumps to finishing in the top 15. They get to make the college football playoff.
They are coasting on a reputation that they built 65 years ago at this point. They're not that special world beater team.
They haven't been special in a long time, and they've coasted through an easy schedule all the time. All the time. Even to look at this year's schedule. Their 2 toughest games this year were Miami and Texas A&M. What did they do in those games? They lost. They can't be rewarded for losing. They played Purdue. They suck. They played Arkansas. They fired their coach. They played Boise State, who's one of the worst Boise State teams they've had in a decade. NC State, lousy. USC's not bad. All right, sure, they're okay. At Boston College, they suck. Navy, we're going to the Army-Navy game, and Navy had a great year. There's no reason why Notre Dame should ever be contested by Navy. They should play the game, but that game's never going to be close. At Pitt. Pitt didn't even care about playing Notre Dame before the game. Their head coach is like, it's not an ACC game. I don't really care. Syracuse, are you kidding me?
Boston College and
Stanford.
Boston College and Syracuse had a combined conference record of 1-17.
Terrible.
Michigan State and Purdue had a combined conference record of 2-14. That's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace.
Yeah, and they get to play SC at home too this year. And everything about Notre Dame and what upsets people at Notre Dame is their arrogance about everything. And we didn't get our way, so we're going to take our ball and go home. Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me?
They're not the only team. They're the most prominent, but there were several teams. I know Florida State. I just saw the list.
Yeah, but
there was
those were
5
and 7 teams that had already packed up for the winter. Most of the kids are gone. They can't just form the team together. It's hey, look. Florida State knew they weren't going to a bowl game for a month.
Right. I agree.
I agree. This team was 10-2.
No, I agree. I'm just saying all I was saying was they were not the only team to just say no to a bowl game, to drop the bowl game. But yeah, the fact
that they did it after not making the playoff. That's the difference.
Exactly. No,
and they're not in a conference, so they can't be held accountable. Iowa State and Kansas State both said we're not playing. At least Iowa State is our coaching staff's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a different thing. But guess what? Kansas State and Iowa State got $500,000 by the Big 12 for losses and not making a bowl and not going to a bowl game.
Yep.
The whole situation with Notre Dame is a sham. The college football playoff is a sham, and everything being catered to Notre Dame, who doesn't play anybody any year, and talks about how great it was back in 1943 when they're winning national championships. If you look at most of their national titles, they're all in the 40s.
Most of them are unclaimed.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about the unclaimed ones, just the claimed national titles. 1924, 1929, 1930, 43, 46, 47, 49, 66, 73, 77, 88. They won most of their titles before World Wars. It's a joke. sticking it to ESPN. Come on, you're not sticking it to ESPN. No, ESPN's making money on all these games regardless.
Right, Adam. And Alabama making it with 3 losses and being uncompetitive against Georgia. That ain't right either.
I agree. There's a
Should
lot
not
you
have
can talk
made it.
about in this college football playoff ranking system that is just an utter joke. Alabama has done absolutely nothing to make the college football playoff.
Yes, they have.
What have they done?
They're Alabama.
They're Alabama.
That's all you need.
It's all, and the excuses they make. I mean, Alabama. What's Alabama? Alabama beat Georgia on the road, and that's just enough. It's okay. But they're like, oh well, they beat Tennessee. Tennessee sucked this year.
Lost the opener to Florida State.
Unbelievable. They lost to Florida State, who was awful. They lost to Oklahoma. All right, that's solid. They lose to Georgia, but you shouldn't be getting rewarded for losses. We're talking about you got to win. Eventually, got to win. What about BYU? I mean, BYU, they got smoked by Tech twice. But the thing is they got punished for playing in the Big 12 championship game, where Alabama did not. It should have been an issue. BYU should have stayed where they're at in that game.
Did you see what Peter Bavacqua, the AD for Notre Dame, said today?
No.
We are mystified by the actions of the conference. Speaking of the ACC, they have certainly done permanent damage to the relationship between the conference and Notre Dame. What conference is Notre Dame a part of in basketball?
The ACC?
Yeah. So you're ripping the ACC when every other sport you're in the ACC. Like, this is beyond childish at this point.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. I mean, and here's the thing: people being upset that Tulane and James Madison are in the college football playoff. Just stop it.
That Big 12 game did not matter for Notre Dame in the slightest because it was going to move BYU out from between the middle of them and Miami to begin with. That Big 12 championship game mattered for James Madison.
Yeah, that was about it.
If BYU wins that game, James Madison's out.
Well,
because Tulane's the higher seed.
Yeah, but they had the 5 highest ranked conference champions are in. It's Duke winning that threw everything off. Because if Virginia wins, they're in, and then James Madison's not. James Madison's not going. If Virginia won, and BYU won, James Madison's not. They're not in the playoff anyway.
All 3 of us, by the way, took a statistical L for that Miami-Duke game, but we all
the
morally,
Virginia Duke game.
Yeah,
I was rooting for Duke
all
big time.
won that game. We
Absolutely.
all morally won that game.
Absolutely.
We took a statistical L in the picks, but boy, did we win that game.
That's not the real problem. The real problem is not those teams making the playoffs.
No, it's not.
The real problem is how they stack everything on this committee. I've told you, it's a simple fix. You do the FCS playoffs and tweak it a little bit. It's not hard.
We need to.
You make it. I know we got to take it. I'm going to tell you why it's easy when we come back, and then we do have an interview already. Sam Levitt was joined by Harold Reynolds. Harold Reynolds talked about the Padres offseason. We'll talk about that next as well on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This holiday season, too many San Diegans will go hungry. Join 97 through the fan and support the San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 97 through the fan, sd.com/food fund, and give today. All right. I talked about this last week. I think it's a simple fix. It's a simple fix as long as you don't want to commit one of the 7 deadly sins, which is greed. And greed is what is really holding back college football. It is such a stupid sport. It is the greatest sport in America. It is the dumbest sport in America. Yes, it could be both. It is both of those things. It is both of those things. We're going to play an interview with Sam Levitt and Harold Reynolds in just a little bit, but I want to get this off my chest. The college football playoff will continue to be stupid as long as people are involved, because people are stupid. We're stupid.
Say, look at us.
They're stupid. They're highly influenced by agendas and about money. It's dumb. It is the greatest. College football is the greatest sport in the United States and is the dumbest sport in the United States. Everything they're doing right now is so dumb. And it's all related about greed and the guys at the top that want all the money still. It's a problem. But here's the deal. It's a simple fix if you want to put the greed aside. There's ways to make money for everybody on that particular case. Make the FCS playoffs happen. It's the division right below you. Anybody that says, like, well, they can't play that many games. I'm coaching high school football right now. We're in the state championship on Friday. This will be game number 15 for us. High school kids are playing 15 games to win a state championship. Los Alamitos had already played 16 games by the time we played them because their playoffs are bigger in the southern section. They'd have to play 17 games to win a state championship game. That is a full NFL season, ladies and gentlemen. The high school kids are doing it. So throw that out the window. Make it a 24-team bracket. There's nothing to complain about. I've been saying this for a long time. It's not going to wreck the regular season because everybody's going to be battling for spots and seating. I think you tweak it a little bit with the FCS. I don't know what the FCS tie-ins are. Like the Big Ten has proposed their own thing. I think that's not a bad idea, the Big Ten's deal. But to me, and mine got more complicated to make it even more fair. They would never do that. But like the Big Ten proposal was 4 teams from every Power 4 conference, which gives you 16 teams. And then they had 2 guaranteed Group of 5 schools make it, which gives you 18 teams. And then the remaining 6 are at-large bids. I think that's fine. I think you need to have all of these teams win it on the field, clinch a spot, then you seed it. It's not rocket science. It's very simple. Get the people that are influenced by all the money. By the way, I mean, you see that, follow the money trail about how much money these schools are making. 5 SEC schools made it, which means $4 million a school, right? That goes into the SEC pot. They got $20 million. Mm-hmm. Who is the biggest TV contract for the SEC? It is who?
Aspen.
Yes, it's the Mouse. The Mouse owns the SEC.
Oh.
Oh. What does the Mouse not own? The Big Ten, Notre Dame, and the Big 12. Who didn't get as many schools in? Notre Dame didn't even get in. Like, just flat out, they just didn't get in. NBC's got that contract. You know who else didn't get in? Any other school of the Big 12 that wasn't guaranteed to be in because Texas Tech had a great year. Big 10 still got 3 schools in. They're mostly a Fox contract. And then James Madison, ESPN contract. Tulane, ESPN contract. It's a simple fix. According to the Big Ten, they want they want it that way. To me, it's like, if you want to give the Big Ten and the SEC an extra team to be an automatic qualifier, so what? They can determine however they want to do it to determine their automatic qualifiers, as they do in college basketball. Put them all in there. And here's the thing: when you make it a 24-team playoff, all the talent's going to start spreading around, just like they did when they made the 4-team playoff a 12-team playoff. It's not rocket science. It's easy. Don't let people pick teams. Let the teams win on the field. Everybody else does it. High school, every other level of college, the NFL, everybody else does it. But for college football, we can't figure out how to seed a playoff. I need to go get the audio from Mike Leach talking about a 120-team playoff. That would be absolutely absurd. But you know what? A 24-team playoff makes a lot of sense. It's simple. You know what? James Madison probably ain't going to win it, but they win their conference, they get to go in. If you're a mid-level team in a massive conference, guess what? You signed up to be in that. You signed up. You made a deal for $100 million to be Middle of the road in your conference. You signed up for that. How many times do I have to say the phrase on the show? You play what and you win what?
Stupid games, stupid prizes.
Stupid games, stupid prizes. Texas played stupid games. They're winning stupid prizes. They did.
No, it's just, no. I'm laughing at the chat.
The chat with the mouse owns Frank's natural casings. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Let's hear from the Oregon Duck himself. It's not Drake. Must mean it's Derek. Derek LeMacy, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Derek?
My man, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Hey, you know what, Braden? Preach, brother. Whether it's 12 or 24, can we just find an adult way to put the best 12 teams in the 12-team playoff? Look, you know me. I'll call back in 2 weeks and I'll wear it. If James Madison can miracle themselves a victory as 20-point underdogs to the Ducks in Autzen, I'll come back and wear it, let the chat rip on me and tell me that the Ducks suck. James Madison, North Texas and Tulane, 20 versus 25. Those two teams, Tulane and James Madison, are not close to being in the top 12 teams in talent in this country. I don't care about Notre Dame, but let's be honest. Notre Dame would smash James Madison and Tulane. Notre Dame is probably one of the best 12 teams in the country. And you're talking about the money, and I get it. That's the only reason why. James Madison has no business playing a big team, and neither does Tulane. Thank God North Texas lost because their uniforms are brutal. Wannabe Duck unis, they're terrible. But I get it. Just the best 12 teams. Is it that difficult?
Yeah, but they got to earn it on the field, Derek. You can't play the game of well, I think this team's good when they don't do it on the field. I mean, James Madison and Tulane won their conferences. If you got a problem with that, you got a problem with too many teams in your Big Ten. There's too many teams in the Big Ten. They signed up for that. They made it. They made their bed. They got to sleep in it now, Derek. We lost Derek.
I love to hate UCLA, who is completely insignificant. I hate USC. Of course, I hate anyone from Los Angeles, but I just love it because they jumped. They destroyed my conference. I loved the Pac-12, even though we ate each other to death in that conference. I loved the conference. It was pure. USC and UCLA ruined it, and now they both suck. Even though USC was ranked this year, they're terrible. UCLA is a complete embarrassment. UCLA needs to run back to the Pac-12 to join San Diego State and all these other teams that are going to that brutal conference now.
I agree with you, Derek. The problem is not the problem is not James Madison. The problem is USC, UCLA, Texas, and Oklahoma put you in this situation. Texas, Oklahoma, we're in the Big 12. They'd be winning it. And guess what? They'd be in the conference, or they'd be in the playoff. Same with the Pac-12 schools. They played stupid games. They are now winning stupid prizes. Biggest fan, we come back. You know, it's that time. It's that time, Frank. Do you remember what time it is?
You know what? I think I might finally have it.
What time is it?
Well, it's got something to do with the listeners.
Yeah, you're getting there.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest fan?
Ah!
Let's go.
It is the biggest fan.
Figured
Give yourself
it out.
a ding. Where's the ding?
Finally.
Where's the ding for Frank? There you go. Well done, buddy. Time to wake Carlos up. All right, today's biggest fan. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Tracy Hefner in National City. Tracy Hefner, Heafner. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all of the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97thefan.com/biggest fan. Tracy Hefner. Here comes all the comments. It's rigged.
Yeah, here's the not me. Yep.
Ah! Classic.
Missed it by that much.
By that much.
Tracy Hafner was the. I'm Tracy Hefner.
Hefner.
Darn it.
We're going to talk more about the college football stuff later on in the week. We're going to do, maybe we might have time to do the NFL whip around today as well, but we do want to dive into some winter meeting stuff. We do have some news from the Padres on a couple of things that we're going to get to in a second. But just kind of the last deal on this. For me, the perspective is because Derek is right and he's wrong at the same time when he calls in on this particular case. He's like, they have no business being in there. Well, then why do they even play? What's the point of even having them? What's the point of even having it in a group of 5 schools? I mean, they should just form their own division. What are they just there to give these big schools games? I mean, it's you. If they're going to be all in the same division, they all need the same path to the postseason. That's how sports work. But we don't want to do that in college football. To me, you make it a playoff that's big enough because you have 130-something schools, 140 schools at the FBS level, and only 12 make the playoff. Make it 24. Make it. You know what? Maybe they won't win. Like, the team that represents the Pioneer League in the FCS hardly ever wins. Why? Because they're non-scholarship football. They're never going to beat Montana or North Dakota State or anybody in the Big Sky. They don't have scholarships. But you know what? They win their conference. They get to go. Same thing with the Ivy League schools are now in the FCS playoffs. And guess what? Yale won. Incredible underdog. Won. I mean, eventually you're going to get a winner. You got the NCAA tournament for college basketball, and everybody makes it. That's a conference champion. They have like 30 different conferences. None of those schools have any chance of winning it. They still get a chance to play. They still get a chance to play in it, still get a chance to get money for their conference, and every once in a while, UMBC wins. I'd love to see Tulane win. I'd love to see James Madison win.
The UMBC Retrievers?
Yes.
I love the good boys.
Yeah. They won.
Speaking of good boys, I don't know what we've done, but Angie is here for a 4th day in a row.
It's Bring Your Dog to Work month.
What good fortune have we gotten that Chemo has brought in Angie for 4 straight days?
Bring Your Dog to Work month. Maybe that's what it is.
I love it.
I'm making it up. I'm sure somebody can tell me what that actual month is. I'm sure there's a month that's Bring Your Dog to Work month. I think Tulane's got a decent shot against Ole Miss, to be honest with you. I really do. All right, so a couple of things just happened with the Padres. This happened earlier. The Padres have signed right-handed pitcher Dayson Acosta to a 1-year contract through the 2026 season, according to AJ Preller. He announced that today. He's 27 years old, Acosta is. He spent the 2025 season with the national system, recorded a 5-1 record and a career-best 2.42 ERA, a 195 opponent's batting average, and 72 strikeouts to 27 walks across 46 games in AAA Rochester. He also had pitched 26 games in AA Harrisburg and pitched 1 game in Single-A Fredericksburg. Among qualified relievers in the Washington National system, he ranked first with a 12.46 strikeout per 9 and ranked second in strikeouts and third in ERA. For the month of May through the end of the 2025 season, he recorded scoreless outings of 30 of 36 appearances with a 1.09 ERA and a 163 opponent's batting average, a 0.97 whip, and a 13.5 strikeout per 9. On the year, he held right-handed hitters to a 154, 250, 209 slash line, which is 5 extra base hits and 40 strikeouts to just 9 walks. He originally signed with the Mets as a non-drafted free agent in 2016, later selected by Washington in the 3rd round of the minor league phase of the 2023 Rule 5 draft. The Paraiso Dominican Republic native owns a career 22-25 record with 20 saves, a 3.59 ERA, and a 216 opponent batting average across 188 games, 10 minor league seasons between the Mets and the national systems. Padres have added another bullpen arm. They added one with Ty Adcock earlier last week. There's some news about what the Padres plan to do with some of their bullpen pieces, as laid out by manager Craig Stammen, that we're going to get you the sound for in just a little bit. But before that, Padres offseason moves. Sam Levitt he's out there in Orlando. He caught up with Harold Reynolds from MLB Network to talk about the Padres offseason. Here's Sam and Harold.
Sam Levitt here as our coverage of the MLB Winter Meetings here in 2025 continues for 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. And right now, I'm very happy to be joined by MLB Network's Harold Reynolds. Harold, I would imagine always a good time of year, the Winter Meetings, right?
Yeah, no, it's always active. I mean, you hear it even in the background with us right now. People going through. It's a fun time of the year.
Let's get your take on the Padres. Obviously, 90 wins a year ago, 93 wins the year before. Came up a little bit short in the postseason last couple of years. Your view on the Padres heading into 2020?
Well, they've been a powerhouse. They give the Dodgers a run, and I love their top of that order. But I wonder what they're going to do with the Rise. They're going to bring back, play that move. I thought that was a big move they made to get him over there when they did. Kind of changed the offensive dynamic. But it was a healthy pitch step that kind of kept them moving forward. So we'll see. There's been a lot of speculation about Tatis getting traded. They've got such high payroll. So You look at you're going to trade Manny, you're going to trade Bogarts, who are you going to get rid of the contract? That's why Tatis's name comes up, and even Jackson Merrill, because those are the logical ones that would be able to be moved if you were going to move salary. But I don't see AJ doing that. I think he's like, we're still here. We're going to keep battling, and we're going to continue to win.
Well, to your point, this is a lineup that still has so much star power. It's a lineup that struggled at times in the postseason the last couple of years. From your perspective, from an offensive standpoint, what takes the Padres from a playoff contender to a team that can make a deep run?
Well, they've been this close. You go back to even the Philly series, they're one pitching change in my mind away. Bryce Harper homers on them, or they might have made a run away from that point. So offensively, I just think you got to continue to the bottom of the order. If you look at what Toronto did, if you look at the Dodgers even, the stretch of the bottom of the order is what carries teams past that next step. So I think that's what they have to address.
We're joined by Harold Reynolds as we continue our MLB Winter Meetings coverage. This is a team that needs starting pitching. There's no secret. Kind of the talk around the Padres this Winter Meetings is, how does AJ Preller do that? Does he get creative? Does he move a guy like Cronenworth or even a Pivetta? Report out today that maybe the Padres are considering that. But one thing they're also maybe considering is a guy like a Mason Miller or an Adrian Morhone moving to the starting rotation. Your thoughts on moving that high leverage of a guy out of your bullpen, that high octane guy in your bullpen, and transitioning him into a starting role?
It depends on what AJ sees when they go to spring training.
Yeah.
Do we need to shorten the game and keep it at a 7-inning game and our bullpen does the rest? That was kind of the recipe last year or 2 years ago. Or do you take a guy like Miller and stretch him out and say we're going to be more based on our starting pitching? Here's what I will say. The answer will come later than sooner. Because I don't think AJ has to make a move in the winter meetings. Okay. I think he can go all the way into spring training and try to figure it out. And one thing he always does, he's going to make some moves.
Yeah, AJ always strikes, whether it's here or it's later in the offseason, we'll see. Finally, MLB Network, your team, you did a great job this year. Brand new format, day-to-day, national pregame show. What was special about creating the national pregame show and what you guys did this past season on TV?
Well, I think being able to lead into games was really special. I think the uniqueness of it was the uninterrupted conversation. Because usually we would have a great conversation. We might be talking about Brett Phillips and his home run in the World Series, and he's coming to the plate right now to hit.
Right.
And here comes Mike Trout. And that conversation ends, and we turn to Trout.
Right.
So now doing it early, you can have a complete conversation about Phillips. You have time to go to Trout and have a conversation. So I think that's uninterrupted has been a big advantage for us.
Harold, appreciate the time. Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
brother.
Enjoy the rest of the winter
Appreciate
meetings.
you.
That's Sam Levitt talking with Harold Reynolds earlier today at the Winter Meetings. Having a good time in Orlando. Do we think he had food yet?
Sam? No, probably not.
I had this weekend. Anybody go to December Nights out there? Anybody?
I did not, no.
I'm surprised, dude, because they have a bunch of free stuff at the museums and things like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you told me.
The train museum's free.
I know, you told me.
So me and my friend went to December Nights. We pulled it up, just kind of slapped it together last minute. Her mom works nearby, and so we got to park at her mom's office, which was great.
Lucky you.
And then walk over to December Nights across the bridge. Place was wedged. They had all this. I mean, they probably had so much great food and little kiosks and stuff like that. It was kind of like the fair almost. But they had a lot of different things that you could do. We went. It's cool. They had, Balboa Park. They have all the all the little countries represented. Like there's 33 countries that have little houses and stuff like that. They all had their own food available, and then they also had a bunch of beer gardens or alcohol gardens throughout December Nights, and one of them was by the international people, and it was the Spirits Garden, whatever, that Spirits whatever. Nice. And every country had their own alcohol there. So I got a black and tan at the Irish tent. They were giving away, not giving away. It was $5 for a black and tan, for Guinness, for one of those harps or whatever like that. Scottish tent had whiskey going on. They had a bagpipe player, which was cool. Mexico had tequila. So like all of those were there. But we went to the Japanese Friendship Garden. I've never been there. That was pretty cool. They had their own beer garden over there with sake and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then we went to the train museum, walked around that. The cool thing about that, like a lot of the museums were just open and it was like wedged, but the train museum had like a line and they only let certain people in at a time.
It's rude. I will say that
I told him it was free, and then I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go." And then Frank said this. He's like, "Ha! Too bad it closes at 6." And I'm like, "Open till 9 during December nights."
But
Surprised he didn't go.
I find it a little rude that Balboa would do this. Why you got to put the train museum in the basement? Like, why do you got to put the train museum in the basement of one of the buildings?
I don't know.
You're trying to say
it's
that
been down there forever.
I'm just why, right? But the joke is that model train collectors
are in the
live
basement.
in their parents' basement. So why do you got to put?
Why do you have to start stuff with like conscribacies?
I'm just saying. I'm not. It's not a conscribacy. I'm just saying. Why do you have to feed into that by putting it in the basement of one of the buildings?
Okay. So anyway, we did that, and then we went down to Barbusa for dinner. I'm convinced Trey Wingenter was at Barbusa on Friday night or Saturday night. There was a guy that was on it. It was him and what looked like his date, girlfriend, wife, whatever. I was like, that guy looks just like Trey Wingenter. It has to be. I don't even know what team Trey Wingenter's on anymore. But I swear I saw him at Barbusa. That place was popping on Saturday. Had a great time. Phenomenal. If you haven't been down there yet, got to go. But we had chicken parm.
Nice.
Delicious. Their gnocchi is like pillows.
Wow.
It's like the lightest gnocchi you'll ever have. Delicious. And we split that and short rib lasagna.
Ooh.
Caprese salad at the beginning. Little caprese. Delicious. And then we walked down to Nona to get dessert. But Little Italy had like a little Christmas market going on.
Yeah, they usually do.
Wedged.
They've usually got a couple little gimmicks going on.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. Go Aztecs. I didn't even think about that. Well, I saw Trey. I saw a guy that looked like Trey Wingenter at Barbusa. But it was a fun time down there. Have you been to Barbusa yet?
No.
You got to get down there. Short rib lasagna, Rod? Are you kidding me? Anybody mind?
Like I said, and you say the same thing. It's hard to go to an Italian restaurant because
the red sauce, the sugu was good. It was approved. That was probably some of the best red sauce I've ever had.
Fair enough.
And I'm very, very skeptical, and also I'm a red sauce snob. Red sauce snob, because some of them are sour. And it's the restaurant sauce. It's not the same as but this is the best part about Barbusa. It's a Sicilian restaurant.
Mike Chance is asking you in the chat, who has the absolute best fish tacos in San Diego?
I don't know. I don't really go get fish tacos a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a big fish taco guy.
No, I don't like Campari. You like Campari? Drink Campari? I don't like Campari. No. Fish tacos? I don't know. I haven't had a lot of fish tacos.
I'll put out
I know a lot of people like the Briggs fish tacos, but I feel that's kind of cheating because they're like a chain restaurant.
I'll put out a call here
for fish tacos.
Yep.
What's Sam Levitt have to say? He's got the best fish tacos in town.
He's saying I would kill for a fish taco right now because whatever they're serving me here at the winter meetings is not good.
It's a Rod question. I agree. Rod, where's the best fish tacos? Blue Water's got good seafood in general. I'd like to know where Rod's favorite fish taco place is. He's a foodie that needs to post on social media about the food. Original Rubio's probably fire. I don't know the answer to the fish. Now I'm hungry. This is a problem. Padres are close to finalizing their coaching staff under Craig Stammen. Frank. There's a report by Dennis Lynn. Per sources, they're expected to add Bob Henley as their third base coach, Kevin Plawecki as their catching coach.
Former Major League catcher, so yeah, that makes sense.
For the New York Mets. And a couple others. His
Austin.
jersey's hanging up at Fitness Quest 10. So he obviously has some type of San Diego connection. And Ryan Goins, who's the infield coach. Nick Punto, who helped coach the infield last season, is returning, as well as first base coach David Macias. There you go. Now people are putting all their fish taco spots. I've never had it's weird with the fish tacos. I've never craved a fish taco. I've never been like, you know what? I really want fish tacos tonight.
I've put out the call to a text group chat I have, see what their responses are.
Big fish taco people?
Well, I'm assuming.
You're assuming?
I'm assuming.
You're assuming they like fish tacos?
Yeah.
Why are you assuming that? Who is this group of people? I need to know these things now.
It's a group of friends, man.
No, they're big fish taco connoisseurs.
They're bigger food connoisseurs than me, which honestly, if you're a smaller food connoisseur than me, you're doing something really wrong.
Your life sounds miserable is what it sounds like food-wise.
Yeah, it is. I've found out, I don't know if I've said it on air, but I went to the doctor on Wednesday or Thursday last week for the official answer on my allergy test. And yes, I am officially allergic to peanuts.
That's unfortunate. We were ready to have a peanut party.
I'm not as allergic to peanuts as I am pistachios and hazelnuts, though. But I am official allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, you can't have pistachio ice cream.
No.
Spumoni is not your deal.
Nutella is worse.
Oh, I bet.
For me than pistachio.
Oh,
ice
for
cream.
sure. All right, we're still waiting to get some of the sound from the winter meetings. I think we're getting some stuff posted right now by Sam Levitt. But Craig Stammen met with the media earlier, 30-something minutes ago, and talked about Mason Miller and David Morgan and Adrian Morejon. They move to the bullpen. They stay in the bullpen, or they move to the starting rotation. We'll have an answer for you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Way to get to our midday sports standoff, but if you could take me down to sports trivia this month, you'd be qualified for a shot at our grand prize, 2 tickets to New Kids on the Block in Las Vegas on June 26th, 2-night stay at Park MGM and a $100 gas card. Calling all blockheads, New Kids on the Block just announced 2026 dates for their The Right Stuff Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Don't miss all of your favorite hits live in Vegas with the New Kids on the Block, February to October 2026. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, we're still waiting on some sound and stuff from Sam, but we will talk about this anyway because they were asked about it, or at least Craig Stammen was. Alden Gonzalez on the report on this. So during the scrum and the talking to the media, Alden Gonzalez reports that here's some winter meeting buzz. In his winter meeting availability, San Diego Padres manager Craig Stammen said the team will keep Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon, and David Morgan in the bullpen rather than converting them to starters. The quote from Craig Stammen is, "It's a risky proposition health-wise and performance-wise, so the Padres are very much in the market for starters." That's a very expensive decision. Which is fine. There's a way to do that. But it's hard to find starting pitching. But if they're all staying in the bullpen's loaded. They just added 2 more bullpen arms. I mean, they're really loading up in the bullpen sense. It didn't say anybody else wasn't moving to the starting rotation, but they specifically said Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon, and David Morgan will be in the bullpen rather than converting them to starters. Do you think the Padres are going to be able to sign starting pitchers? Are they going to trade for starting pitchers? Or do you think this is going to be a year where they really rely on their bullpen the entire time?
You got to do it through trades. You have to get somebody because you've got to find somebody to go along with Nick Pivetta. Joe Musgrove is coming off of Tommy John surgery, so you can't expect him. I know he says he feels good. We heard him last week with, was it with Gwynn and Chris, or was he with Ben and Woods last week?
Who?
Musgrove.
He was with Ben and Woods.
Ben and Woods, okay. He said with Ben and Woods that he's pretty much on his normal off-season schedule, which is great. But coming off of Tommy John surgery, still, that's a big adjustment that he's going to have to make. Randy Vasquez, fine. I'm not thrilled with him being the number 3 starter, but he's a solid piece. You need to get somebody else, at least one other guy, whether it's through trade or whether it's through free agency. You need a middle of the rotation guy. I don't think you can go this offseason now without adding somebody, whether it be through trade or free agency. You have to get at least one. If you don't get one, boy, you're in some serious trouble, I think.
They need to get they need 2 to 3 starting pitchers.
I agree, but
general.
you have to get
I
at least
don't,
one.
But they're not going to. But they're going to have to go get bottom of the barrel guys or mid level guys. It costs too much money to get a starting pitcher.
Unless you think that Michael King's price has come down far enough to where you can afford him and a first baseman, I don't see a way that you're not doing the thing again where you're hoping to hit on a Seth Lugo or a Michael Wacha.
You can keep playing that card every single year and hope for the best. And so far it's worked out, but it doesn't work out every single time.
Nope.
There's no guarantee that's going to work out every single time. So maybe that is the case. Maybe it's and we go back to the starting pitching arms that are available on the open market right now that are in that category. And, a handful of guys have already signed that were bullpen guys that we might be starters, like Ryan Helsley, one of those guys that could potentially do that. But you're looking at a free agent list of starting pitchers where you're going to have to take a massive chance on. And it's a handful of players that I think are not very sexy for fans when you start talking about it. And I'm okay with this.
Johnny Brito is an example of it not working out. Johnny Brito
had
Tommy
hurt.
John surgery.
Right. Well,
he didn't pitch last year.
I think he's trying to imply that his body couldn't do it. But who knows? I mean, he might be a guy that might be really leaned on here. But you're talking about affordable starting pitchers. You're looking at a guy like Marcus Stroman for $8 million. I mean, Zach Eflin had a tough year last year, but he's expected to get have a better WAR this year. I mean, you got to be maybe taking a chance on a guy like Dustin May, John Gray. I mean, I'd like to see Nick Martinez back here, but that's $14 million of your budget, potentially in Nick Martinez. You're looking at guys like 37-year-old Chris Bassett. He might be a little bit too expensive. You're looking at guys like Chris Paddock. You're looking at guys like Patrick Corbin. You're looking at, this is Griffin Canning. These are some of the names that would be available. I'm just going to ignore that comment and that thing. Maybe you get a guy like Walker Buehler, who has been awful the last couple of years. But these are the types of players you have to take a chance on. Cal Quantrill. You could bring Nestor Cortez back. They already signed Kyle Hart. Kyle Hart sounds like a guy that might be in the starting rotation next year now and not a bullpen piece because you already have bullpen arms. You're looking at guys like Austin Gomber, Herman Marquez. None of these guys are that great. Maybe they re-sign Michael King. Now, if they decide that they're going to have these guys in the bullpen, they re-sign Michael King, I think the dynamic changes a little bit.
Yeah.
The more we talk about Michael King and the more the price continues to get leaked about what he might potentially sign for, he becomes more affordable by the day. So maybe he's the guy. But you got to bring the sheriff back? Chris Paddock? Chris Paddock's looking at a 1-year, $7.5 million deal. That's the type of player you have to take a chance on and hope for the best. That's why when we talked about the situation with some of these bullpen arms, it's not that crazy of a conversation to try to move them into the starting rotation because it's more affordable that way. And you're going to have to, this is a position that's going to cost a lot of money. So maybe Chris Paddock working with Ruben Niebla would be different. But a lot of the names that we've talked about, here's the thing that and this is just for, I think, fans need to understand when it comes to who would be available. Because a lot of people that have said, and not Go Aztecs, and it's not everybody, but a lot of people have said, let's keep these guys in the bullpen because they're legit. Let's go sign some mid-tier starters. And then they start listing guys that are going to cost you $20 million. So that's not a mid-tier starter anymore. Padres can't afford $20 million arms right now. It's oh yeah, let's just do that and sign Ranger Suarez. Well, they're probably not going to get that guy. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody likes Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly's 37 years old. He's going to cost you around $16 million a year. Are you willing to spend $16 million a year to get Merrill Kelly for him to not be very good at 37 years old, potentially? I mean, there's a lot of risk involved. So I find that interesting on this Craig Stammen conversation. That's being reported by Alden Gonzalez after the scrum that he had, and we're gonna kind of wait to get some of the sound.
It's looking and sounding like more that Quinn and Chris might have that audio, as well as the AJ Preller. Sam is doing his best with hotel Wi-Fi, so it sounds like Quinn and Chris will have that content for you.
We got some more drama in the Notre Dame ACC deal.
Have fun.
We're going to talk about it when we come back,
and
hopefully get some sound for you from the winter meetings for Quinn and Chris.
We have a fish. We have a fish taco answer, by the way.
We'll give you that as well when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standings Number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 1:40 on a Monday. Where'd the time go? Where did the time go?
Seriously, especially today. I mean, it was 10:30. You blink, and now we have 20 minutes left.
You better get all your stuff in. Uh-oh. I should probably start working on my post-production stuff. We didn't get to the whip around. We'll get to that tomorrow. We're going to have more stuff from the winter meetings tomorrow as well. Poor Sam is dealing with a backed up cell service and internet at the hotel. Now is like very much peak time of the winter meetings. I mean, there's a lot going on at the same time. So I would imagine the bandwidth isn't very good in terms of uploading stuff. So Gwen and Chris will probably have a lot of sound from Craig Stammen and AJ Preller. So stay tuned for the 2 o'clock hour. You're going to be able to get a lot of information from the San Diego Padres. And what was talked about already, that was the biggest breaking news, I think, for the Padres. There was a couple things that happened today. One, they signed a new pitcher, minor league guy from the Nationals organization. They gave him a major league contract. He's going to be a bullpen arm, would be my biggest guess. Maybe they try to convert him to a starter. He was a starter at the beginning part of his career. He's been a bullpen arm since 2022. So we'll see what that brings about. That was the big sign that the Padres got today as they brought in Dayson Acosta. The other news was, as broken by Al Gonzalez, at least on social media, was that Mason Miller and Adrian Morejon and David Morgan will all be in the bullpen for next season. So they will not be converting bullpen arms to starters, at least those three in particular, which says they are very much open in the starting pitching market. And we'll see what AJ Preller could do with the budget restraints that he has and potential trades that he might have to make to improve the starting pitching, but they have to improve the starting pitching. And we talked about at the beginning of the show, what is the biggest hotbed right now at the winter meetings, Frank? What position is it?
Starting pitching.
It's starting pitching. And that's why we began our show with the report from Dennis Lin, an article in The Athletic, that they were listening on calls for Nick Pivetta, which I find interesting now that they're not going to change, they're not going to move anybody for the bullpen in the starting rotation, at least those three prominent names, and they're listening on Nick Pivetta. A lot of the trade game is interesting. I think a lot of it is, some influence from other teams, other rival execs, things like that. But at the same time, trying to sell we're going to trade Nick Pivetta to potentially improve our roster elsewhere or get more young controllable arms. I find that hard to believe in that particular case. So if we get any sound from Orlando, we will pass it along to you in the next couple of minutes or so. But we had some interesting stuff from the college football playoff aftermath. We briefly talked about this. We're going to talk more about this later in the week as we get you ready for the Army-Navy game this weekend, which Frank and I will be at this weekend with the Army-Navy Radio Row. We leave Wednesday night. We will be live in Baltimore on Thursday and Friday before heading back to San Diego for our show on Monday. But interesting thing, the athletic director for Notre Dame was on Dan Patrick this morning.
Yes.
Here's what he had to say on Dan Patrick's show this morning about the ACC and how everything went down.
What role did the ACC play in any of this, in your opinion?
Well, I would tell you, again, I have tremendous respect for Miami. Great team, great school. Their athletic director, Dan Radakovich, is a good friend. And all the teams in the ACC, great, wonderful universities. We have no gripes about any of the schools in the ACC. But we were mystified by the actions of the conference to attack, their biggest really business partner in football and a member of their conference in 24 of our other sports. And I would tell you, Dan, I wouldn't be honest with you if I didn't say that they have certainly done permanent damage to the relationship between the conference and Notre Dame.
What do you mean?
Just we didn't appreciate the fact that we were singled out repeatedly and compared to Miami. Not by Miami. Miami has every right to do that. But it raised a lot of eyebrows here that the conference was taking shots at us. And that's just not something we chose to do. We wouldn't choose to do that in the future, and people might disagree with us, but that's just not something that we'd be comfortable with. And again, we have no problem with any of these teams. These are all great teams. You look at those teams, Miami, like I said, great season. They beat us. You think about Alabama, nobody's had more success in college football over the last decade than Alabama. But Dan, you follow this sport so closely. Everybody was saying that we were one of a handful of teams that could win this whole thing.
Yeah.
And now we have 0% chance. Even Nick Saban, nobody knows more about college football, maybe in the history of the world, than Nick Saban. And he said it yesterday, like, how is Notre Dame not in this? I mean, everybody is just kind of confused and perplexed. And we don't have good answers for the kids on our team, for our student athletes.
Are you going to reevaluate your relationship with the ACC, the overall relationship?
I would just say it's been strained.
It's been strained, Frank. We've been seeing some rumblings that they might try to pull some of their sports or all of their non-football sports out of the ACC and potentially join a different conference.
It's an almighty crash out is really what's happening here. They are crashing out like children because of this. You shouldn't have been there to begin with. We told you, we said it at the beginning of the season when you went 0-2. It is going to be nigh on impossible for Notre Dame to make the college football playoff now. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? You're out, period. The only thing that is making it any more difficult, the only reason why it is so confusing is because Notre Dame was ranked ahead of Miami. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that's making this difficult to understand. If it was Miami 10, Notre Dame 12, there's no gripe. There's no issue here. But seriously, you're going to blame the ACC for having the back of a team in its own conference. Come on. That's your gripe now.
Their gripe is the sense that they have a partnership with the ACC in everything but football, and they didn't like the fact that the ACC was singling out Notre Dame and supporting Miami in the sense. So they didn't like the fact
in football,
but
which you're not a part of their conference.
It doesn't
in football.
matter. It's the conference making the actions to a team, to a school that is partnered with the conference. I understand why they might be a little flustered by it, but at the same time, I don't think it justifies them being upset. If you don't like it, play better. But he's talking about we were talking about last week. The ACC network aired the Notre Dame Miami game like on loop for like a week.
Yep.
You go back. I was looking back at all their tweets. The ACC, they're single-handedly like talking about these posts about Miami and beating Notre Dame and Miami and having the head-to-head over Notre Dame and looking at one of these is not like the others, and it's Miami's head-to-head win over Notre Dame, and they have all of these Miami over Notre Dame. And I think Notre Dame's gripe is they are in the same conference for everything but football. I think their gripe for this is you wouldn't be doing this if it was both ACC schools. They consider themselves an ACC school, but they want to be able to have their cake and eat it too with their TV contract. They don't want to share their TV contract in football. Otherwise, they'd be a full-fledged member of the ACC. So I love the fact that they're all like disgruntled about it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's the arrogance from Notre Dame is hilarious here. I understand why they would have a gripe, but they do not. They are so out of touch on a sense of the ACC doesn't get the money that you guys bring them in football. They just get all your other sports that aren't nearly as good as the football team. Does anybody care about Notre Dame basketball? Does anybody care about Notre Dame and other sports? Or is it just football? You care about the Golden Domers. That's what they're known for, is the football team. That's where all their money is. The ACC is like, you want to join our conference? We'll stick up for you, but you're not fully in our conference. Here's the statement from the ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips. The University of Notre Dame is an incredibly valued member of the ACC, and there is tremendous respect and appreciation for the entire institution. With that said, when it comes to football, we have the responsibility to support and advocate for all 17 of our football-playing member institutions, and I stand behind our conference efforts to do just that leading up to the College Football Playoff Committee selection on Sunday. At no time was it suggested by the ACC that Notre Dame was not a worthy candidate for inclusion in the field. We are thrilled for the University of Miami while also understanding the and appreciating the significant disappointment of Notre Dame players, coaches, and program. It's the ACC. And if guess what? When Notre Dame goes to the college football playoff, right? Let's say they go to the college football playoff. When they get that $4 million, do they have to give that to the ACC?
No.
No, they don't. So Notre Dame representing the ACC, not really representing the ACC. If Miami doesn't get in, what conference doesn't get $4 million in their pocket? The ACC.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, no bleep. The ACC wasn't like playing the horn of got to get Notre Dame in the playoff over our Miami. Give me a break.
You're having a crash out because a conference that you are not in is rooting for the team that is in their conference to make the tournament, to make the playoff.
Augie's got a great comparison. Notre Dame is a friends with benefits with the ACC, and the ACC found a guy who doesn't text at 1 a.m.
Well, there you go.
It's 100% true. This thing is going to get more messy with Notre Dame and the ACC. I honestly think, based on the statements that have been put out, that this relationship is irreparable. That's not anything that has been suggested. That hasn't been anything that has been reported. But based on his tone and based on Notre Dame's view of themselves, I can't imagine them staying in the ACC. Do they get to go independent and everything? Probably not. But I could see and Jake Waters puts in the chat that Notre Dame's in the Big Ten for hockey. Notre Dame has always made a lot more sense to be part of the Big Ten. And I know the Big Ten would love to have Notre Dame. So it's funny, like Notre Dame wants to have the relationship of being in the ACC for all their other sports and have it count for football. You're not in the conference. The arrogance from Notre Dame over the last 2 days is why everybody hates you guys. They haven't done S in the last 2 decades, 20-something years, probably 30, even more than that.
1988
They haven't done
was their
anything
last
since
national
1988. Yet they sit there on this high horse and this pedestal about how great they are all the time. And then when they get an opportunity to do something great, they choke and they can't get the job done. They load their schedule up with lousy opponents. And they beat up on teams like, oh, these are legacy games. These are legacy games. We always have played Navy.
It's an excuse to play the bottom of the barrel in the ACC and Big Ten.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
We got to play Boston College because that's what we used to do in the 1940s when there wasn't, 140 teams you could play. Notre Dame never challenges themselves in the regular season. And guess what? When they did this year, what did they do? They lost. They're a program that's living in the 70s and 80s and living off of Rudy that hasn't accomplished anything in the last 30 years in football. And yet they act like they need to be in all this stuff and not have to try to do it. It's a joke. Nobody gets the same rules Notre Dame does, and they still bitch, moan, and complain about it. Maybe we'll talk more about that later on. We'll get you more updates on the winter meetings. Gwen and Chris will have some updates when they start their show next